What's going on, San Diego? Hour one of Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. We have a bunch of prizes for you throughout today's 4-hour show. Mark Neville from the Holiday Bowl is going to be joining us at 3:30 to talk about the Holiday Bowl at Snapdragon Stadium. The first year the Holiday Bowl will be at Snapdragon Stadium, so we'll talk to Mark Neville coming up today at 3:30. We have tickets to the game as well. KGB Sky Show. We also have tickets to Seals this weekend. What other tickets we got, Brent? Auto show tickets. I mean, we literally have it all right here on Jon and Jim. So
I think it's Christmas or something.
Yes, we are Santa Claus today. Actually, Brent's Santa Claus because he's the one that puts all the information in the system. So Brent's Santa, I'm the elf, and we'll be giving away a bunch of prizes on today's show. We'll get to the NBA Cup later this hour. We'll get to a take that Nick Wright had today that I literally just started laughing at the take that Nick Wright had today about what the NBA Cup now means. So we'll get to that later in the show. But once again, we'll start with the Padres. And I put something in our rundown that I can't repeat on the air about how the Padres are making me feel right now. And I'm sure how the Padres are making a lot of people feel right now with, can you freaking do something? Now, this isn't out of the norm. AJ Preller has done things after Christmas and in January and February before, but I'm not kidding. Like, there hasn't been one singular move at all. Not one.
They're that meme when you're poking that dead body.
Do something.
Do something.
Do something.
Move.
They haven't done anything. And, you know, last year, well, Jim, they didn't do anything until, you know, they got Jerkson Profar in February. They traded for Dylan Cease during spring training. They got Luis Ariz during the season. And then they made the trade at the deadline for Tanner Scott and Jason Adam and Brian Hoeing and so forth, right? I'm like, okay. So I look back at all the moves that they made last year because I wanted to see the timing on things. You know, like, when was Preller making these moves? Last year, the big Juan Soto trade happened on December 7th. All right. So that's that's 11 days ago. Now, they don't have Juan Soto to trade right now. I understand that. So making a big time trade like that, I get it. But when that trade happened, Brent, we all had an understanding of the direction of the offseason. We had an understanding of, all right, this is what they're going to do. They used Juan Soto as a big trade chip to go get a bunch of pieces to fill out this roster, all major league talent. Some people didn't like it. At the time, I wasn't a big fan of it, but it turned out to be a great trade. And at that moment, on December 7th last year, you knew the direction of the offseason. All right, it's not going to be like it has in the past. They're not going to go out. They're not going to sign somebody to a $200 million contract. They're not going to make all these flurry of trades for star players using a bunch of prospects. Like, their thinking last offseason was, we need to use a player that we know is not going to be here after next season and try to get as much for him as possible because we have a lot of holes on our roster. Going into this offseason, there's a lot of holes on this roster. They don't really have that big trade chip other than Dylan Cease. And right now, I don't know which way they're going to go. Like, you could say they could go one of like 4 different ways. We've read all the stuff from Dennis Lin and Kevin Acee and AJ Cassavell, and we've heard from insiders across baseball how the Padres are not going to spend. We know that. That's the definitive. We know they're not going to spend. They're not going over the CBT. That's a like definitive. That's the only thing we know right now. But what we don't know is how they're going to build their roster for next year. I don't know how they're going to do it. Are they going to trade Dylan Cease? Are they not? Are they going to trade Luis Arise? Or are they not? Are they going to trade more prospects? Or are they not? Is Ethan Salas really untouchable? Or is he not? Is Leo DeVries untouchable? Or is he not? How are they going to do this? How are they going to build this roster? Which way are they going to go?
As of right now, today, I feel like in a way they're playing the lottery. They're playing the Roki lottery, to where it's kind of like if this was the NBA, okay, they have the draft lottery and the ping pong balls and all that stuff. They're banking everything as of right now on getting that Roki ping pong ball out of the thing.
Yeah.
And that's all they're thinking about. But when another team pops up and it's their ping pong ball and it's not them,
then what?
I don't think they have a backup plan right now. I think right now it just seems like they're focused on, oh, we'll just win the lottery, and then after that we'll go from there. And then they don't have a backup plan because we haven't really heard anything about, even rumors of, them signing a, first baseman or,
an outfielder, catcher,
any of those things that they needed for the last few off seasons. We haven't, heard anything. We've got, was it Wadey or whoever the hell they re-signed the other
Tyler
day?
Wade, yeah, it's a $900,000 contract.
That's what we've got. So for me, it just feels like they're just kind of sitting around waiting for, the phone to ring. A high school kid waiting for a girl or guy to call him. They're just going to sit by the phone and wait for Roki to call.
And I understand that because you have to wait around. You can't go out and get Roki right now because guess what? It's up to Roki Sasaki where he goes, and he's not going to make a decision before January 15th. So while Roki is on top of their Christmas wish list for sure, like anybody could figure that out. It feels like you're right, Brent. They're waiting for that decision to be made before making any big time moves to fill out their roster. And I'm not saying that it's going to be like a disaster if that happens, but by January 20th, maybe some moves that they were thinking about making on December 20th have gone past you and you can't make them anymore. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But yeah, you have to wait this out before the shoe drops with Dylan Cease, and maybe before you could actually say, all right, we can now re-sign Jurickson Profar. A lot of things need to happen, and particularly one big thing, and that's the Roki Sasaki decision.
I think it's kind of helping them out too with waiting, just that it's been another relatively slow free agency period just in general.
It really just halted at the end of the winter meetings. Like it just stopped.
It's where it's not like, oh, we got to, pun intended because of the hot stove, but we have to go while the stove is hot. We can't wait. Otherwise, we're going to go do something and then there's not going to be anything in the cupboard and it's going to be bare and we're going to have it's not like that because nobody is really signing. So it's not like every day they wake up and it's like, oh, 6 more guys that we're thinking about gone off the board to where there's any like added pressure to like just get going and hurry up with it.
Yeah. I just sitting here on December 18th, kind of am wondering to myself, like, how are they going to get this done? What path are they going to go down? There's multiple paths that have been discussed and talked about on the show, in the paper, on other programs as well. Like, okay, it just reminded me of the Simpsons movie when I forget the guy who walks in, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's the president of the United States. And he's like, we have 7 plans here, president. He's like, I choose this one. Like, no, not that one. I choose that one.
Sir, you don't want to read them first?
It's like, nope.
I was elected to lead, not read.
they have plans in front of them and they have to wait. That's not like the easiest thing to do if you're a fan of this team, is to wait, because you want to get a sense of what this team is going to look like next year. Yes, I know they'll have a left fielder. Yes, I know they'll have a catcher. I know they're going to have a first baseman. I know they're going to have a starting pitcher on the mound every single day, or at least a pitcher on the mound every single game. Like, yes, I know that. But who is in left field? Who is behind the plate? Is it going to be a Luis Campusano, Brett Sullivan tandem behind the plate? Is it going to be that SpongeBob guy, Oscar
Oscar SquarePants
from the Cleveland Guardians that they picked up off waivers and signed him to a minor league deal? You know, are they going to have Luis Ariz on this roster? Are they going to have Dylan Cease on this roster? And waiting's the hardest part. I am the most impatient person on the freaking planet. I can't wait for anything. I hate it. So you can only imagine how maybe some other fans feel that might be more impatient than me, where it is less than a week away from Christmas. And I'm not kidding. They've made 0 moves. I don't even count Tyler Wade. Like, they've made 0 moves. They lost their starting catcher. I have seen nothing about potential talks or anything involving Jurickson Profar. The only thing you've heard on Jurickson Profar is, well, if he wants $15 million a year, Padres don't want to do that. I haven't even heard anything about what Jurickson Profar wants. Nothing. All I've seen about Dylan Cease is kind of conflicting reports, and we'll talk about a potential Dylan Cease blockbuster trade that I saw today that I want to ask you out there, if this happened, would you be excited coming up next? But it's like you hear from Kevin say, all right, they're thinking and asking about Dylan Cease. And then Dennis says, well, their preference is not really to trade Dylan Cease. And you're like, okay, well, if they don't do that, then how are they building a roster? How are they filling out the pieces? How are they filling the holes that are on this team right now? So, yeah, I mean, if you think it's eerily quiet with the Padres and you thought that they did the same thing last year, well, they didn't. They've actually, made the Juan Soto deal. And I get it, they don't have Juan Soto this year, but the Juan Soto deal happened on December 7th. Right now, it's December 18th, and they've made 0 moves. 0. The one move that they could make, that I think the more we talk about it, the more likely it feels like it's going to happen, is trading Dylan Cease. I'll give you a hypothetical blockbuster trade that I want to know if you would like, if you're a Padres fan, coming up next.
All right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help, guys. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars.
Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now to keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Yeah, if AM radio goes away, bye-bye Jon and Jim. So please text 52886 to keep AM radio alive. All right, so the hypothetical Dylan Cease blockbuster deal. All right. This comes to us from Newsweek. Dylan Cease traded to the Baltimore Orioles. All right. Makes a lot of sense. The Baltimore Orioles need a starting pitcher, in particular an ace, because you just lost Corbin Burns. Their farm system is probably the deepest in all of baseball. They have a lot of talent. Ken Rosenthal, Sinister Sling Ken Rosenthal, the other day mentioned that they just have too many players for not enough slots. Not everybody can play. So instead of hoarding all these prospects, you're going to have to unload and make a couple trades probably. If Preller had this farm system, oh my God, he would be making trades like every single day.
Well, he did 6 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. Preller had a farm system comparable to the Baltimore Orioles. And look what he did. He traded everybody for Juan Soto. So the Orioles under new management, new ownership, they're kind of under a microscope to go out and make some moves. And this hypothetical trade from Newsweek is this. All right. The Baltimore Orioles receive right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease for right-handed pitcher Chase McDermott, the Orioles' number 5 prospect, outfielder Dylan Beavers, great last name, number 6 prospect in their organization, and catcher/first baseman Ethan Anderson, their number 12 overall prospect in the Orioles organization. Okay. Okay. Like, what would be the reaction if that were the actual trade? Now, on the surface, it's a borderline Cy Young pitcher, finished 4th in Cy Young. He's going to give you 180 innings plus every year, 200 plus strikeouts, an ERA in the 3s. He has no hit stuff. We saw that this year, obviously, for 3 prospects. Okay.
Initial reaction / question. How old are these prospects?
Mm-hmm.
And what stage, like, are they A-ball guys? Where are they at in their development? How close are they to being ready?
Okay, so I have this right here.
Okay, because for me that's a big thing.
Right.
If they're,
absolutely, yeah.
If they're just a couple steps away from being ready to come up to the club, then yeah. If it's
are they A-ball guys? Are they 18-year-olds? Yeah. So I would assume that a guy like Chase McDermott would be the centerpiece of a deal. He's the number 5 prospect in the Orioles organization. All right. He is 26 years old, starting pitcher. All right. And he did have a little time in the big leagues last season. He made 1 start, went 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, struck out 3. But if I'm looking at his overall minor league statistics, all right, not really eye-popping. 19-16 with a 4 ERA. He had 496 strikeouts and 344 innings pitched. Okay. Dylan Beavers, who is an outfielder, can play right field, center field, or left field. He's 23 years old. He's a lefty. And his minor league statistics overall in 3 seasons, 270 with an 809 OPS, 26 home runs, 129 RBIs in 267 games. Now, Jackson Merrill's numbers in the minors were nothing to, be excited about. And look what he did last year. Jackson Merrill had virtually no experience in the minors, and he came up and he turned into the best center fielder in the National League. So numbers in the minors, it can be a little wonky, right? Like if a guy has a 1 ERA in the minors, that stands out to you, obviously.
Well, yeah, and they always say, don't pay attention to win-loss record in the minors because that doesn't really count.
Like what's his stuff
ERA
like?
Strikeouts.
What's his stuff like? Same thing with, an outfielder. Like, hey, does he have pop? Like, what
is he fast?
Yeah. So would that excite you out there, Padres fans, if that were a trade that AJ Preller made? Dylan Cease to the Baltimore Orioles for right-handed pitcher Chase McDermott, outfielder Dylan Beavers, and first baseman / catcher Ethan Anderson. I mean, if two of those three guys can help you in the major leagues next year, okay. Seems like Chase McDermott's ready for the big leagues because he was brought up by the Orioles last year, made a start. So you have that guy in your rotation. Dylan Beavers is a guy, if you want to bring him up, 23-year-old outfielder. He can replace Jurickson Profar. I have no clue about Ethan Anderson, their number 12 overall prospect, but I'm looking at top 10 prospects. And if you got 2 top 10 prospects back for Dylan Cease, would you be okay with it? Would you be okay with that? 70470. Start your message with team, or you can call me 877-767-4760, or hit us up on the talkback mic. Just go to the iHeartRadio app, the very brand new iHeartRadio app. Search out San Diego Sports 760, hit the little red microphone, send us a talkback. What do you want to see back for Dylan Cease? Do you need to see major league talent right now? Or are you okay if AJ Preller can go out and get a couple top prospects that could maybe help you next year, but are also very raw and young? We'll get to your text coming up next right here on Jon and Jim. This update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. We'll start in the NFL. Kirk has been benched for Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., the Falcons' top draft pick last year, will now be the starting quarterback for Atlanta. And last night, the NBA Cup final in Las Vegas. Your Bucks are the 2024 NBA Cup champions. They beat the Thunder 97-81 in a game that does not count. It doesn't count. It's not even in the record books at all. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. Still coming up in the show. We have a bunch of prizes to give away, so stay tuned for that. Mark Neville of the Holiday Bowl will be joining us talking about the Holiday Bowl, which is next Friday here at Snapdragon Stadium. Also part of our KGB Sky Show.
So we'll get his thoughts on the first ever Holiday Bowl at Snapdragon Stadium, and we will discuss the NBA Cup. I know everyone's waiting for that to be talked about today. Look at the text line here. 619 number says, I'd rather he not, talking about AJ Preller, trade with the Orioles. I found their farm, while on paper is great, they don't seem to be too great. Aside from Henderson, if Cease gets traded, need one MLB-ready pitcher and 2 top 10 prospects. Cease is always in the Cy Young conversation, and only the second Padres no-no ever. Okay. Another 619 number says, just no, F no, about the proposed trade that I talked about last segment. Look, I'm not necessarily even talking about the players. I'm just talking about the return that he would get back, which would be 2 top 10 prospects and a, top 15 guy. Like, the names are okay. I'm just talking about what actually he could get back for Dylan Cease. If you're looking for what, this 619 number says, which is 2 top 10 prospects at minimum, an MLB ready pitcher, and 2 top 10 prospects, like, I don't know if you're going to get that much. In this hypothetical trade, you do get 2 top 10 prospects, and one of the pitchers in the trade is ready to go. A 26-year-old righty who had time at the big leagues level last year, and he will be a guy in the mix. I'm talking like this trade actually happened, but that's kind of maybe what AJ's looking at here is you're not going to get the moon. You are not going to get, their number 2, 3, and 6 prospect back. Like, it's just not going to happen. Beggars can't be choosers, especially with Dylan Cease on the final year of his deal. He is not Juan Soto. You are not going to get the haul you got for Juan Soto. You're just not. So stop thinking that. But if you can get 2 top 10 guys that are basically major league ready, what if one of them does turn out to be like, what if this Dylan Beaver guy, all right, say this trade actually happened. What if that Dylan Beaver guy turned out to be like Jackson Merrill, but from, like, that'd be amazing. Now, I wouldn't put like much hope into that happening, but still, if you get guys that are ready to go and they're ready for the bigs right now, and they are part of the best farm system in baseball, I think that might be the best you could do for Dylan Cease. Anything other than that, probably not going to happen. And Brent, I know you want to give your point here, but you made a great point during the break, and that was about if this trade, hypothetical, obviously, right? If it went through, it would be what? It would be
all for needs.
All for needs. And that is something that AJ Preller did a fantastic job with last year with Juan Soto. All the players that he got back from Juan Soto were all needs. Needed a catcher, got a catcher. You needed a frontline starting pitcher, you got a frontline starting pitcher. You needed prospects, you got a prospect that you flipped for Dylan Cease. You needed back end of the rotation guys. You got Vasquez and Brito. Like, I'll admit, I didn't like the trade at the time. I mean, you're trading Juan Soto. And anytime you trade Juan Soto, when you're in win now mode, kind of feels a little yucky. But it turned out to be a great trade for the past season. Now, going forward, if they don't re-sign Michael King, they've already lost Higgy. You know, you traded Drew Thorpe for Dylan Cease, and you could be on the verge of trading Dylan Cease this offseason as well. Randy Vasquez and Brito, okay, they're fine, but they're never going to be anything special. Sorry, guys. So for 1 year, it was great. But can you now make it count? Can you make that trade count? And if they trade Dylan Cease, they're going to have to make that trade count as well. Because they have a lot of holes to fill with not a lot of pieces to fill those holes with.
That's why I think that it's almost, if they're ready to go now, or at least relatively close to ready to go now, then it's one of those deals where, well, we need starting pitching anyways, regardless of if they get rid of Cease or not. They're still going to need more of it. But if they would trade him, that would fill 3 of the holes that they need filled.
If they believe in the people they traded for.
If they're ready to go.
And I think, that and hypothetical trade, those 2 of those guys would be ready to go right away.
And then there's the other thing that they brought up yesterday with the hypothetical thing with Baltimore about, if they trade, the Padres aren't going to re-sign him after next season.
Dylan Cease, no.
So I don't want to be in another situation like we were with Hader and
Snell,
to where it's just like, hey, we could have, like you said, we weren't going to get the world, but we could have got some pretty decent players out of it. But instead,
pretty decent. They could have gotten a lot for those 2 guys.
But instead, we just got nothing and just let it go. So that kind of is lingering in the back of my head too. On, if we know we're not going to be able to re-sign him, are we just going to sit here and just get nothing for him and then just let him walk again? Or did we learn nothing from the Hader situation? I
do think that situation was kind of an outlier situation because of Peter. I guarantee you the conversations were had at the time about trading Hader and Snell, but you also had an owner who was the most optimistic person that you might ever meet, thinking, I don't want to give up on this. And now knowing his health situation at the time, I understand why they didn't do it. I think it was obviously backfired for sure, but I understand that. And I agree. Like, man, they're in such a tough spot with Dylan Cease, because like, if he has a good season and he gets like top 5 in Cy Young balloting again next year, that's a $200 million pitcher. His stuff is a $200 million pitcher right there. And if you keep him throughout the season and you don't have a good year, like, yeah, that's gonna be tough, because you could get a lot for him potentially. And by a lot, what it sounds like here is you can theoretically, hypothetically, whatever you want to say, get a couple top prospects in, say, the Orioles organization.
Well, and the other thing too that makes it a little more enticing than usual is just the phrasing of how everyone is like, if Baltimore wasn't already stacked with all these young players at the major league level, these guys would be up there right now starting for Baltimore, but they don't have enough, room
spots
for anybody. Yeah. So it's not like these guys are just, 3 dudes that have been sitting in A-ball for 3 years and, they had no thing. They would already be up if Baltimore didn't already have all those young stars on their team. So that kind of makes it seem a little more enticing, opposed to, like I said, if they're just 3 dudes that were just sitting down there, opposed to, if this was any other, team, they would have been starting already.
Mm-hmm. So in our chat on YouTube, search us out, Jon Jim 760. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can watch all of our shows there. I lost the chat. I think it was like, why would we trade Dylan Cease if we're in win now mode? And I understand that. I can't find it because we have a bunch of people in our chat right now, but I can't. I agree. Like, I understand that thinking. I am there too. Like, why would you trade Dylan Cease if you need to win now and you're in compete mode?
It's one of those things of, what do you value more? The one starting pitcher, as awesome as he may be, or 3 starters? And you need the starters. It's not like, these are just 3 bench guys. They would be 3 starters for one, like I said, awesome pitcher, but just one pitcher that's only going to play every 6 days,
Right.
opposed to guys that are going to play every day.
Oh, here it is. From Lance. How can you say this team is trying to win now when they are about to trade their best pitcher? Simple. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, Michael King. That's easy. Once they signed Manny Machado in 2019, every single year was about winning. You don't sign a guy to a $300 million plus contract and just say you're not trying to win. And if you do that, then you're in big time trouble. And you're probably the back end of Machado's career. But right now, you are trying to win because you have multiple guys on your team with $300+ million contracts. Coming up next, the NBA Cup is finally over. Oh, man, what a cup it was.
Can't wait till next year.
We'll talk about the glorious NBA Cup coming up next on Jon and Jim.
feel like I'm talking to myself today. Great 2-minute drill, Jim. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. I like your take on the NBA Cup. Oh, great. That was a great take.
Why you never get that?
No, I'm just talking to myself. Like, if I'm the only person. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, the NBA Cup, it's over.
Thankfully.
Yeah, right. Can't wait till next year.
Now, Brent is a big Bucks fan. Okay. And so the first thing last night after the Bucks won the NBA Cup, I text Brent, bro, you need to buy a hat because they released hats and shirts for the Bucks.
Dude, I was getting emails within 5 minutes of that game finishing.
How like big of a desperate, I don't even know what to call this type of person for you to buy an NBA Cup championship hat.
No, people buy it. It's the same thing of like, yeah, I'll just use Wisconsin fans because they're Bucks fans. When the Packers win like the division, it's the most prestigious thing ever. And look at all the divisions
Who buys
we won.
division caps though?
Packer fans will. But
but
if Minnesota wins or Detroit wins, then nobody cares about divisions. So it's one of those things to where people will buy them. I'm not going to buy one.
I know, I get it. People buy like the playoff hats, right? From Padres. People buy playoff shirts. Okay.
If we were still playing the way we were at the beginning of the year, to where it looked like this would have been the
they're like 13-3 in the last 16 games or something.
So now it's like, I think we can do better than the NBA Cup is my thing.
I watched probably, no joke, Brent, like 15 seconds of that game last night because I just have no interest in it. Unless your team is in it, why should I care about this?
My team wasn't it, and I barely cared.
Perfect example. Like, why should the NBA fan care? And I love the NBA.
We won an actual NBA title in a shortened season not too long ago, and it's just like, okay, now we won our little in-season tournament. It is what it is, but it's not like, yay.
Yeah, it's, I just continuously think about the line from a movie. What was it? Mean Girls. Stop trying to make fetch a thing.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make the NBA Cup a thing. It's not working. It's not something that fans are like rushing to their TV sets to watch. It is in the middle of December on a Monday night or Tuesday night, sorry, in Las Vegas. So it's on a neutral court with barely any of the home team's fans.
Well, that's the other thing. It's all so short notice. It's just like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, no notice. I'm just gonna pack up and go to Vegas for, a random Bucks game. And
like, I guarantee you half the crowd, maybe more than that, last night were people in Vegas looking for things to do on a Tuesday night and saying,
fillers.
Hey, you want to go to a NBA game? Like, okay.
Well, and I don't know if you noticed their little attempt at their light trick as I'm doing.
No one was there,
and
like, you can't hide that, guys.
They do this in pro wrestling all the time when they don't sell enough seats, to where they'll darken the lights so you can't see the seats in the back, and they kind of did that with this blue light where you can see, oh yeah, there's nobody sitting there.
Yeah, it just was it's an attempt to create fan excitement, yet you're not getting any of it. Like, nothing. It's just 2 years in. It's a very new idea, and it's just not working. Like, it's just not. There's nothing that screams to me, I gotta go watch the NBA Cup. The courts are awful.
Well, last night was like their best court ever because it didn't look like a unicorn puked.
It's a normal court. There's no urgency. Like, why should I care about watching NBA players playing for more money?
For me, the cup is almost like for years and years, like the non like hardcore or just person that doesn't sit there and watch 62 regular season game. I know they play 82. I'm just saying you watch the majority of the games all year. You're
You're not really excited about an NBA Cup that doesn't mean anything. It's a game that literally does not count. No joke. It doesn't count. Like, I'm not trying to be funny here. The game doesn't count. These stats last night, Giannis going for 26 and 10 or whatever he went for, that doesn't count. It's an exhibition game. It's a pickup basketball game. That's why fans are looking at this and saying, why should I care if it doesn't even count?
I remember what I was going to say now. For years, all the other sports and the non-hardcore NBA people are like, oh, there's no point in turning the NBA on before Christmas. There's no point in turning the NBA on before Christmas. To where now it's like Adam Silver is just like, oh yeah, well, watch. We'll do this tournament before Christmas, and
still no one
so
turned
many
on.
people will watch, and we'll show you that nobody cares about the NBA before Christmas. And they did the tournament, and it's showing that the casuals don't care about the NBA before Christmas.
Yeah, they just don't. They don't. We'll talk more about the NBA Cup. There's a couple takes that we have to get into. One specifically from Nick Wright earlier today. If you missed it, it was in my 2-minute drill, but we're going to expand on that later in the show. Mark Neville from the Holiday Bowl is going to join us next hour to talk about the first ever Holiday Bowl at Snapdragon Stadium and, of course, the KGB Sky Show. We have a bunch of prizes to get to as well. Stay right here on Jon and Jim. This update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. We'll start with NFL news of the day. Kirk Cousins, he has officially been benched. Michael Penix Jr., their first-round draft pick, will be the new quarterback in Atlanta for the remainder of the season. And the NBA Cup is over. Last night, the Bucks won the NBA Cup Finals. They're the 2024 NBA Cup champions. They beat the Thunder 97-81 in a game that doesn't count. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event on select new Lexus models. Get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved credit. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today. All right, hour two of Jon and Jim on a Wednesday. Mark Neville of the Holiday Bowl is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Also, we have great prizes to give away during the show as well. We're actually going to give away something this hour, Brent. We're going to give away a pair of 4-pack tickets, not right now, but during this hour, we're giving away a pair of 4-pack tickets to see the San Diego Seals on December 21st. At Pechanga Arena. So make sure you are listening this hour for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Seals on December 21st at Pechanga Arena. We'll be giving away those tickets this hour of the show. So the NBA, I think the conversation around the NBA right now is not about LeBron or Steph or super teams or trades. It's or even like the up and coming young players like Wemby, Anthony Edwards. It's all about how to fix the game. And I get it. I get it. You know, I was thinking about this the other day driving in, Brent, listening to Colin. And his show, it's, you know, there's two things. It's the NBA and it's the NFL. Mostly NFL. I would say 85% NFL, 5 to 10% of college football, and then the rest is the NBA. Now, it wasn't always like that. He used to talk a lot of NBA. Now, he might still do that, but the topics right now in the NBA aren't the topics that hit on a national level, which is LeBron, Lakers, Steph. They're just not there right now. So the topic about the NBA is how to fix the game. And, you know, I kind of wanted to push back on that. But then I'm watching the other night and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. There are guys out there that are shooting threes that should not be shooting threes. And it's like damn near over half the league. And I'm looking at who are the top 3-point shooters in the league right now. Who leads the league, Brent, do you think, in 3-point field goals made right now?
Probably not Luka because he's hurt all the time. I feel like it's going to be somebody that I won't expect. And I'll just say Dame Lillard just because I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. And Steph's too easy.
Steph is too easy. It's not Steph Curry. It's not Dame Lillard. It is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards leads the league in three-pointers made this season. He also leads the league in how many three-pointers. Oh, no, sorry. He doesn't. Attempted three-pointers a game. He is second in the league. You know who's number one in the league in three-point field goals attempted a game?
No.
LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is a 35% three-point shooter, and he leads the league in three-pointers attempted a game. Like, what? And it's not like he leads the league with like 8 three-pointers a game. He leads the league by shooting 13 threes a game. 13. Some teams back in the day combined shot 13 field goals a game. Now you got singular players shooting 13 threes a game. Peyton Pritchard. Who? Peyton Pritchard is shooting 9 three-pointers a game. He is second in the NBA in three-pointers made, behind Anthony Edwards.
Well, look, I got it up right now. The Celtics in 26 games. Go away, pop-up ad. The Celtics in 26 games this season, they've already got 494 threes made. That's made. That's not even attempt. Yeah, that's made.
How many have they attempted? Like 800?
More than that. 1,328 attempts so far in 26 games.
I mean, you are going to see records broken everywhere. Guys like Peyton Pritchard is going to have damn near 300 threes made this year. Think about that. Dude is, I mean, give me a break. Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball shooting double-digit three-pointers a game. Seriously? And this ain't like a take about how Steph ruined the game. I think that take is dumb because what's he supposed to do? Not play his game and not be the best at something? He's the best three-point shooter in the history of the sport. So because of that, everybody wants to copy him, and you'll never be Steph. No one will ever be Steph. Someone might in a couple, 20 years or so. But at this point in time, every single NBA player in the league, you ain't Steph, bro.
It kind of reminds me of when Roy Williams was coaching North Carolina. I couldn't stand watching Carolina games because Roy Williams' brand of basketball was you get the defensive rebound, you sprint down the floor, and you take the first shot that you have. It doesn't matter if it's a good shot or a bad shot. You're just going to take the first shot you have, and then you're just going to run down and you do the same thing. And it's just, when they make them, it's fine. But when they miss and it's just bad shot after bad shot after bad shot, it's just, for me, it's hard to watch. And that's kind of what's happening now to where, it's one thing if it's just a three, but then, everyone's got to shoot between the, top of the key and the half court symbol. And it's just like, those aren't good shots.
They're not. They are.
And all centers now are being relegated to
shooting threes.
You sit in the corner and you just sit there because that corner three is like the easiest spot now. So I remember when the Bucks got Brook Lopez, they pretty much said, hey, you're just going to shoot threes. So you sit in the corner and you just practice. And that's what he did because that's pretty much what he does for the most part now is just shoot corner threes.
Dude, Brandon Miller. We all know Brandon Miller.
Mm-hmm.
He averages 11 three-pointers attempted a game. Like, what? Now, he doesn't qualify because he hasn't played enough. But, like, the game of basketball right now is dealing with a couple problems. One, their mega superstars that have carried this league are all getting older. Two, the up-and-coming superstars are on teams that are in awful markets, like Minnesota, San Antonio, Charlotte. Like
Charlotte and San Antonio are bad. Minnesota and Milwaukee always get labeled as being bad markets, but they're really not that bad because people forget it's so cold that they'll sit around and watch the games because they have nothing else to do. Charlotte, there's probably other things to do, but
at this point in time, you have a league that is in trouble because they, for whatever reason, and if it's because of Steph, okay, but that's not his fault, the game has morphed into 3-pointers and dunks, and really more 3-pointers than dunks, if I'm being honest. It's a 3-pointer game. Every team now is shooting 53s a game. Teams are combining for, like the first half the other day of the Warriors Mavericks game, both teams combined for 73 pointers shot, I think, in the first half. That's ridiculous. And it's not like they're making 50%. A lot of these guys shouldn't be shooting threes. A lot of these guys shouldn't be out there. And that is hurting the game. And it's a factor of a bunch of different things. Like it's you don't have captivating stars right now. You just don't. You have really good players and star level talent, but you don't have that captivating star that is talked about on every platform. And it takes a cycle. It takes time. You're not just going to all of a sudden replace LeBron James with LeBron James. I get it. Or Steph Curry with Steph Curry. It takes time. It's the cycle of things. But I'm not. I love Anthony Edwards as a player. I'm not compelled by him at all. LaMelo Ball, not compelled at all. Wemby, there's a chance. I don't know, but there's a chance there. These are great players. Luka might be the closest one. But even then, I think Luka's game, while he puts up triple doubles every night, seemingly, I think Luka's game, I don't like watching it. He's a foul baiter.
he whines a lot.
And all he does is shoot threes. And he's at the free throw line all the time. Like, if I'm looking right now, he averages 7 free throws a game, and that feels kind of low to me.
I wish that instead of, hokey tournaments and, just changing, everything that used to be good about All-Star Saturday night and everything else.
The dunk contest is irrelevant now. No one wants to be in it.
The whole night is irrelevant now. The 3-point contest is irrelevant. The whole thing is irrelevant now. But play defense. You know how many solutions would be solved? And we did this last year, but I looked into the stats of scoring goes down so much once the playoffs start. And it's not a coincidence. It's because the teams actually try more on defense. I think that would help a lot. I think people wouldn't be as irked with all the 3-pointers if they weren't all wide open 3-pointers or just half-assed defense on the threes to where they actually tried. And then we didn't have, 80% of the games. All right, we're going into halftime and it's 91-93. When I was in middle school, that used to be like a final, and now it's like the halftime score. And it's just try and bring defense back, bring pride back into defense. Same with the All-Star game. We don't need all these hokey changes. Just get the players to try hard or just try. That would be an improvement over what they have been doing lately.
Well, the Thunder last night, they were 5 for 32 from 3. 5 for 32. The Bucks were 17 for 40, combined 72
that's why
threes.
They lost.
72 threes were shot in that game. And then the other night, the Mavericks and Warriors, they had like 70 in the first half. Yeah, a lot of these players are trying to be something that they're not. And it's all they do now is practice threes. Everybody does. All they do is practice threes. All right, coming up next, we'll hear from Charles Barkley on his solution to fix the NBA. Mark Neville joins us at the bottom of the hour. Also, we're giving away Seals tickets. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim.
All right, coming up next, we're talking about the Holiday Bowl at Snapdragon Stadium next Friday. Of course, it's the KGB Sky Show as well. Syracuse against Washington State. So we'll talk about the Holiday Bowl coming up next year. Also, we do have Holiday Bowl tickets to give away during the show as well. Make sure you're listening this hour. We are giving away Seals tickets. So stay tuned for that. All right, Charles Barkley was on this morning with Dan Patrick on the Dan Patrick Show. You can hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760 every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And here's what Charles Barkley was talking about with Dan Patrick on how the NBA should be fixed.
So we've been talking about the NBA. The commissioner's talking about the NBA. Seems like he's okay. Ratings are declining a little bit. You got the NBA Cup. I don't know what that did for the interest of the game. I don't know. We start to look at this, and I'm wondering, does the NBA have to do something like Major League Baseball is doing things, where they got the bases bigger, that commissioner is trying to do different things. Should Adam Silver be looking at that same model?
I think we have to do something. You know, Dan, last time I was on your show, you asked me a great question. You said, is it load management or just too many threes? And I said, it's really a combination of both. And, anytime old guys like us say something, we're hating on the young guys. But I watched the Warriors. I was in the sports book all day Sunday. Me and the guys got up and watched football all day. And in one of the games, I watched the Warriors play. The Warriors played the Mavericks. It was one of the worst games I've seen. They just, I think it was 140, 130. They just went up and down the court and shot threes. And I was like, man, this is awful to watch. If you're just going to have a three-point shooting contest every night. So I think we got to figure out something. The fan, because the most important thing of the game is the fan.
Yeah.
And if they're not watching, you can't keep your head in the sand. You got to say, what are we doing wrong? And like I say, it's frustrating for me because all it is now is a three-point shooting contest and a free throw contest. And I don't like it. Like I say, they can get mad, but I don't want to go see a three-point shooting contest every night. That ain't no fun.
What if we capped the number of threes that you can take? Each team gets 25 attempts.
I'm open for any suggestion. But like I say, we're going to have to do something. Ratings are down. And that's, like I say, the fans are the most important aspect of the game. We need the fans to be successful. It's like the All-Star game. We're throwing just stuff at the wall. We got a new model this year. And
what do you think of that model?
Well, I want to do anything to help the game, Dan. I saw Kevin Durant rip the new format. Dan, I don't know what you do, because what we've done the last X amount of years is not working. It's not fun. So I've always suggested we do the United States against the world. I think that would be fantastic. I do. I think it'd be fantastic. I don't know how this thing going to turn out this year, but listen, let's be honest. What we've done the last few years is not working, plain and simple.
And it used to be that we kind of christened the NBA season at Christmas. That's when the season started. Just the fact that seemed to be the logic is flawed. Yeah. Like, you don't really get excited about a game in October, November. It's like, wait till Christmas Day. Well, now the NFL just came in and said, hey, we're going to take over Christmas from you, NBA. Yeah. And that's difficult. That's tough for them because it felt like they owned that day.
The best ratings we've ever had were the year we went on strike, Dan, and started on Christmas. I think we need to seriously consider starting at Christmas, because you get caught. Because listen, you're wasting your time going up against the NFL and college football. They own the weekends now. But if we started at Christmas, we'd have all the count. There's no other sports, that we'd have to compete with if we started at Christmas. College football would be over. Pro football is winding down. We'd have the entire calendar late December, January, February, March, April, May, June to ourselves. I think it's something we need to really consider, plain and simple.
When guys like Charles Barkley are saying things like that, there's a problem here. And Charles is pretty on the nose with this one. Same thing with Dan Patrick. A lot of people are sensing and feeling, Colin talked about it this morning as well, that whatever the NBA is doing, it's just not working. And is it a lack of compelling stars? Is it the actual game? Is it the load management? Is it the fact that, as Charles said there, the Warriors Mavericks game a couple nights ago, every possession was a three. Every single possession at one point was like a three-pointer. No one even got the ball in the paint. Is that like where's the disconnect here with the NBA? Because it just ain't working. I mean, I talk a lot about how Rob Manfred, to me, is an awful commissioner. I mean, Adam Silver is not doing great either. Like, Adam Silver is now getting into a territory of like, bro, you are now coming onto that level of Rob Manfred as being like the two worst commissioners in all of sports.
I never thought I would say I miss David Stern.
I mean, now David Stern had the luxury of having, I don't know, this guy named Michael Jordan to help out his league.
Yeah, no, but he didn't kiss the player ass like Stearns does.
Yeah, no, Stern, David Stern and Adam Silver, completely different. Adam Silver got a lot of work to do, buddy. Got a lot of work to do. All right, coming up next, the Holiday Bowl is at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll give you all the details on what you need to know about the Holiday Bowl next week right here on Jon and Jim. Stay with us.
All right, Hamul Casino is Jon and Jim for our friends over at Hamul. It's a great month to get out there. It really is this holiday season. You can join them every Monday this month. You'll have chances to win big luxury handbags, top brands like Louis Vuitton, Versace, and more. They've got 10 winners every hour. 7, 8, 9 p.m. Onyx players receiving an extra $100 in cash bonuses, plus one lucky winner each hour will have the opportunity to pick a purse packed with cash. We're talking about up to $25,000, and you'll get to keep the purse as well.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to win a Louis Vuitton, Burberry, or Versace purse, or win that and $25,000 in cash, you can head on over to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, Loft 94, or their poker room to watch all the sporting action that they have for you. NFL, college basketball, college football, NBA, NHL, they have it all.
Also, New Year's Eve, just over 2 weeks away. Get to Hamul. They've got the holographic New Year's party. You can celebrate in style. They'll kick off festivities with $20 free play for all, beginning at noon. Make it an unforgettable New Year's celebration out of Hamul Casino.
Yeah, get ready for New Year's with Hamul. You can also win a lot of money with Hamul, some stylish handbags at Hamul, and watch all the sporting events you want. And they have great dining experiences, too, with amazing food selections. Only at Hamul Casino. It's fun above all else. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. We'll start with NFL news of the day. The Atlanta Falcons have announced that quarterback Kirk Cousins is getting benched for their first-round draft pick Michael Penix for the remainder of the season. And the NBA Cup is finally over. The Milwaukee Bucks are your 2024 NBA Cup champions. Yay. They won last night 97-81 over the Thunder. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event on select new Lexus models. Get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim, taking you to 6 p.m. tonight. And the Holiday Bowl is, I don't want to say back in San Diego because it hasn't left, but it's like a new look Holiday Bowl this year. It's the first year at Snapdragon Stadium. So everybody is excited about that. Right now, great to be joined by Natalie Schneck. Is that right? Natalie Schneck?
100%.
Awesome. Natalie Schneck, the VP of Marketing for the Holiday Bowl, is here with us talking about the game next Friday. So, Natalie, you know, it's a big year for the Holiday Bowl, obviously. First year at Snapdragon Stadium. What can you tell us about the excitement level that this game is moving to Snapdragon and the whole theme of the event?
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is the 45th annual DirecTV Holiday Bowl, and this is the third year that the 101.5 KGB Sky Show will be following the
Love
game.
the Sky Show.
Who doesn't love the Sky Show?
Mhm.
One of my favorite things the past couple of years is folks that maybe weren't familiar with the Sky Show that did attend for the DirecTV Holiday Bowl. They came out and it looked like that emoji with stars in their eyes.
Right.
Really just an incredible fireworks display. So, we call this thing San Diego's biggest holiday party for a reason, because of course we're very excited for the Syracuse-Washington State matchup, 5 p.m. Like you said, it's Friday night football, which is, we're really excited to have a Friday night. But the game, all the festivities really start the night before. So this is a big thing for the city of San Diego. So on December 26th in downtown San Diego, we have the Snapdragon Bowl Bash.
Mhm.
And if you haven't been, that's a free party, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that features the marching band and cheer from Syracuse, doing a friendly battle of the bands against the marching band and cheer squad from Washington State. So right where Gaslamp is painted on that pavement, they meet up together. It's a really fun time. I mean, really, whether or not you're coming to the game, we hope you are, but please come no matter what, because that's a great time. Who doesn't love that?
Natalie Schneck here, VP of Marketing, joining us here on Jon and Jim, talking about the Holiday Bowl next Friday night at 5 p.m. at Snapdragon Stadium, Syracuse against Washington State. The value of the Holiday Bowl, Natalie, it's a kind of a big thing here in San Diego. I feel like it's, when you think Holiday Bowl, you think San Diego.
Right.
And so now moving to Snapdragon Stadium, the value of that being in a football stadium, it was really nice at Petco Park, making the field turn into a football field and making all the dimensions work out. But now the value of having it at not an NFL stadium, but a football stadium, what does that mean for the Holiday Bowl?
Yeah, we're really excited. Like you said, Petco Park was an amazing experience, and having it at Snapdragon Stadium in Mission Valley, like, we're really hyped for that as well. Some of the things that are a little different from a fan experience standpoint, we have our tailgate right there. So it starts at 2 p.m. It's a free fan fest. Folks that are 21 plus could always get a beer garden ticket, which is fine. HolidayBowl.com.
Absolutely.
And then, one thing that we were talking about, the value of the game, we always like to say you've got two iconic San Diego events for one legendary game day night lineup. So you've got our DirecTV Holiday Bowl, Syracuse, Washington State, and then the 101.5 KGB Sky Show, which, San Diegans love both of these events. So to have them together is great. Another amazing thing that's happening is SeaWorld San Diego is actually doing a giveaway of 10,000 one-day passes to the first 10,000 fans through the gates at Snapdragon Stadium. So when you're talking value, I think that's a really outstanding experience for anybody who's coming down.
And what the Holiday Bowl does for San Diego, putting a spotlight on the city, that's a very important thing as well. This is a nationally televised game. This is a game that is happening in the midst of obviously the college football playoff.
Right.
But when you think Holiday Bowl, that's like a staple bowl game, and to have it be on the national stage, how important is that for the Holiday Bowl.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. So yeah, we're nationally televised on Fox, but kind of in a broader sense, the DirecTV Holiday Bowl has been around since 1978. Our organization, Sports San Diego, produces it. And we're a nonprofit tasked with driving economic benefit to San Diego through outstanding sports events. Sports tourism is a huge part of our economy. So this bowl started as a way to kind of elevate and showcase our city in a time that typically is slower for tourism. So there is a huge element of supporting San Diego as well when you come to the DirecTV Holiday Bowl.
Natalie Schneck, Vice President of Marketing for Sports San Diego, joining us here on Jon and Jim, talking about the Holiday Bowl next Friday night here at Snapdragon Stadium, just down the street. Syracuse against Washington State. Now, I saw the other day that a big-time name is going to be involved with the Holiday Bowl. Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut.
What is his role? Is he going to be just like eating food the entire game, or what is Joey's role with the Holiday Bowl this year?
Well, he has an official title. It's the chief eggnog official.
Love it. There you
and
go.
So for folks that don't know, in bowl season, it's pretty common for bowls to college football bowls to dump something that is kind of brand aligned with the bowl on the winning coach. And for us, eggnog came about last year with our inaugural dump on USC's winning head coach, because it's the Holiday Bowl. What's more festive of a holiday drink than eggnog?
Of course, yeah.
And so that actually was had a great response. And again, it was really fun to kind of play in that space, because that's what bowls like to do. So, but the thing is, you got to up the ante, right? So this year we had to really bring in that expert. And who better than world champion eater Joey Chestnut? Now, he isn't going to be doing competitive eating, right? But I don't want to really spoil what he's doing there, but he's definitely going to be there to help bring that dump to the next level.
See, that would be amazing if he was just every single point scored, he has to eat like 10 pounds of something or 10 gallons of something, because that's what he does for a living, is just eats food and drinks an ungodly amount of eggnog. So that's amazing that Joey Chestnut is going to be there involved in the game. All right. So if people are looking to go to this game, Natalie, how can they purchase tickets right now?
Holidaybowl.com.
Holidaybowl.com. Tickets still available. Next Friday night, 5 p.m., Syracuse against Washington State. Again, if you are planning to go to the Holiday Bowl, it's not just a game. There's obviously events before the game as well. The free fan zone from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Snapdragon Stadium. The first 10,000 fans through the door gets SeaWorld tickets as well. So it's going to be a great time. And it's the first year at Snapdragon Stadium, which I can't wait to watch, because Snapdragon Stadium is an amazing place. How many times have you been to Snapdragon Stadium, or have you been yet?
I have been many times, and it never gets old.
I love it. My wife loves that stadium.
Yes.
She is a big time college football fan. And when ever we go, she just tells me, like, there's the food there, the drinks, the sights, the view of the field, like everything about Snapdragon Stadium is great. I'm so happy that the Holiday Bowl is going to be there next Friday night, and that gets to be displayed nationally on Fox. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Once again, if you're looking to get Holiday Bowl tickets, you can go to holidaybowl.com. Also, later in the show, we are giving away a free pair of Holiday Bowl tickets as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Natalie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up next here on Jon and Jim, we'll get back into the Padres' quest to do something this off season. Also, we'll be giving away some Seals tickets as well. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim.
The Aztecs are back this Saturday to take on Cal. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Ted's going to have the tip around 7:30 on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. So,
why did we even talk about Doug Gottlieb yesterday? I forget. Was it because, oh yeah, he got in a beef with Adam Schefter. That's right. So Doug Gottlieb, I have my opinion on Doug. It's not a great one. He could be a great guy, but my one-time interaction with him just completely turned me off. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. But not only is Doug Gottlieb getting in Twitter X beefs wars with Adam Schefter, but he is not doing great as a college head coach yet.
What? He hasn't turned around UW Green Bay yet?
Yeah, UW Green Bay. I don't even know their mascot.
They're the Phoenix.
The Phoenix.
They had to change it.
University of Phoenix Online of Green Bay.
Pretty much. They changed it to Phoenix because they were one of those schools that they had a Native American themed team name. So then they changed it. So now they are the Phoenix.
Well, so
That's a bird, Jim.
Magic, yes, a mystic magical bird.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you watch Harry Potter. You know what that is.
I do know what that is, unlike John. But his Green Bay Phoenix University of Online team today, they didn't do well. They played Michigan Tech.
Michigan Tech?
Michigan Tech. This isn't like a D2 school. It's like a borderline like YMCA school. Michigan Tech. So Doug Gottlieb, yesterday, I think it was either yesterday or this morning before the game. He talked about his upcoming game against Michigan Tech. Here's what he had to say.
When you see the same thing on repeat, like I got to do a better job of finding my balance and maintaining focus and positivity. So I'll get there, you know. But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I mean, this is why you got to schedule like everybody else does, a couple D2s early, you know. I know the league, and Julie was here today, and she's wonderful. But the league's like, you know, you got these tiers on who to schedule, like nobody. Part of the reason I want to play better teams is like, it's 2 degrees outside, snowing. Like, I don't really like the idea of nobody you coming in here and like, I always thought like, what do we learn playing a game where we win by 20? But there's a methodology to it. And I'm going to have to adjust moving forward.
So they played nobody you today and they lost. They lost to, as Doug referred to, as nobody you in Michigan Tech. Green Bay is 2-11. His team is 2-11 this year. They lost to Michigan Tech at home, 72-70. Nobody you. And to top it off, he had a radio show today, Brent, and he missed the radio show after losing to nobody you. And they had to come on and like explain why Doug wasn't there today because he was coaching a basketball game and this and that. I mean, is this one of the worst weeks for Doug Gottlieb, like professionally? You get bodied by Adam Schefter. You lose to nobody you at home after you proclaimed that, you know, we're going to beat them by 20. And what does it really do for us? Like, we have to schedule somebody. We have to put somebody on our team. But, you know, it's nobody you. Like, who cares? And then you lose to them at home. I mean, this is a really bad week professionally for Doug Gottlieb.
But the part that made me laugh was just this when he bitched about the weather.
It's 2 degrees outside, snowing. Like,
like, you took a job in Green Bay, dude. What did you think it was going to be like?
Right.
It's like that place is barely livable like 3 months out of the year. You're going to go there and coach a winter sport in Green Bay and then bitch that it's cold out. And no way, it's snowing too
in Green Bay
a week before Christmas.
Oh my
Get
gosh.
out of here!
It's 20 degrees outside. No way.
You know, you didn't take the UW Bahamas job, Doug. It's gonna be cold. It's cold. We have to play this.
Does anybody find it weird that the college is allowing him to still do his radio show?
Oh, they won't care. It's UW Green Bay, dude. They're like the fourth fiddle. It's UW, the Badgers. Then it's Marquette, which is barely anybody. You either are alumni to Marquette or you're from Milwaukee. Those are the only people that care about Marquette. And then there's UW Green Bay. And pretty much it's only alumni that care about UW Green Bay.
I mean, look, not a great week for Doug Gottlieb. All right. I'll just say that.
It could have been better.
It could have been a lot better. You could have maybe beat Nobody You. Instead, you lost to them at home. And it's just amazing. And then today he has a radio show scheduled and he's not on it after losing this game. I mean, he's just getting destroyed. I mean, look, I have my opinions on Doug. It is what it is, but I mean, to say that and then you go out and lose, dude, come on, man. You can't say that and lose. You know how much of a clown you look like? You're giving crap to Michigan Tech. I get it. It's Michigan Tech, whatever. Is Michigan Tech even in Michigan? Please be in Michigan. And then you lose to them? Dude, come on, man. Brent's looking it up right now. Where is Michigan Tech? It has to be in Michigan, right? There's no way it's in like Alabama or something.
No, it's in Michigan.
Okay, good. Whew, thank goodness.
Oh, it's in the UPA.
UPA?
No, it's in the UPA.
Oh, the UPA.
The UP is what they call the northern part of Michigan. That's practically up in Canada.
Got it.
That's where people from Minnesota and Wisconsin always get like the Fargo comparison. That's where that comes. People that live in the UP, they actually talk like that with the the little fella.
Just an absolutely amazing chat in our YouTube chat here from Bobby Dukes. He says this: I honestly hope the coaching gig starts going better for Doug so he can just stay off the radio permanently.
I was gonna say it's probably. I don't think the radio listeners were too heartbroken about that news today.
Yeah, not really at all. I can't remember ever a time I'm like, yeah, Doug Gottlieb. I got to listen to Doug. Whatever. Doug is gonna have to wear it this week. Doug, it is like an official wear it week for Doug Gottlieb. He's not gonna recover, at least in the public, eye on social media from what Adam Schefter did to him. And then that comment right there about Nobody You, Michigan Tech, little old Michigan Tech, coming into your house.
Christmas vacation starts early.
Coming into your house, man. The house of the Phoenix. And losing by 2 points to Nobody You. Man, what a bad week for Doug. Very, very bad week for Doug. All right, coming up next. Oh, wait, no. Right now, caller number 8. Right now, caller number 8, you have won a 4-pack of tickets.
You should have done 3 for each of UW Green Bay's wins.
Well, they only actually have 2, Brent.
Oh, okay.
So caller number 2 would be interesting, but caller number 8 right now, 877-767-4760. Caller number 8, you have won a 4-pack of tickets to see the San Diego Seals on December 21st at 7 p.m. at Pechanga Arena. Again, call number 8, 877-767-4760. You're going to see the Seals on December 21st this weekend. Coming up next, what are the Padres doing? I don't know. We'll talk about that right here on Jon and Jim. This update's brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. We'll start with NFL news of the day. Kirk Cousins has been benched for Michael Penix, the Falcons' first-round draft picks the previous season. And the Bucks are your 2024 NBA Cup champions. Yay, they beat the Thunder last night, 97-81 in a game that doesn't count. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.49% APR financing. Limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today. All right, what's going on, San Diego? Hour 3 of Jon and Jim on a Wednesday, taking you to 6 p.m. tonight. Still have some great prizes to give away, including Holiday Bowl tickets, so stay tuned for that. This just came down here, Brent, via Mark Feinsand. He is reporting that Nolan Arenado has blocked a potential trade to the Houston Astros. Okay. So that tells me one of two things. One, Bregman is not going back to Houston. I mean, the Houston Astros have traded away Kyle Tucker. They're not getting Bregman back. They need a third baseman. Nolan Arenado, he's on the trade market. All right. And it's interesting. Nolan Arenado is a guy that in his prime, amazing. Like, I know Ted all the time talked about how Nolan Arenado was not a really good player because he played only at Coors Field. Okay. Like, he put some really good numbers with the St. Louis Cardinals as well. Man, that dude wants to play in Southern California with the Dodgers so bad. He wants to be a Dodger. I don't think that's happening. But Nolan Arenado, that's the hot stove news of the day, Brent. Nolan Arenado has blocked a potential trade to the Astros. Okay. Other news, Padres have actually made news today locally. They've made news locally, Brent. They tweeted out this morning at 10 a.m. So this was a scheduled tweet. Adds to calendar, and it's a picture of FanFest.
Okay.
Which will be Saturday, February 1st. There's not many details other than there's just a picture that says FanFest presented by SeatGeek. Save the date, Saturday, February 1st. I'm guessing this is going to be at Petco Park. Where else would it be? Some teams do like, FanFest tours or like a virtual thing or whatever. But I would assume that they're going to have FanFest this year at Petco Park, February 1st. By then, do we know who this team's left fielder is? do we know by February 1st who the starting catcher is for the season? Do we know by February 1st if Dylan Cease is on the roster? Like, imagine that. They have FanFest February 1st. Dylan Cease somehow is still here. He goes to FanFest, and they trade him next week or the week after.
I hope so, because I don't think fans are going to wait in line 2 hours to get their picture taken with Wadey.
Tyler Wade.
No offense, Wadey.
No offense, Tyler, bro. Even though you blocked me on X. I didn't even realize
doesn't?
that. I look at his X profile, about to retweet him because he said like, "Oh, I'm thankful" or whatever. And then I see that I'm blocked. I'm like, what? And then I find out that Tyler Wade's not only blocked me, but he's blocked a lot of Padres fans out there. A lot. What are you laughing about back there?
Bobby Dukes on our YouTube chat just said highlight of Fan Fest is going to be introducing Martin Maldonado.
If you know, you know. Here's our new acquisition, Martin Maldonado. Yay! Or here's Elias Diaz again, new and improved Elias Diaz.
He's back, ladies and
He's back
gentlemen.
and better than ever. So FanFest, Petco Park, I'm assuming February 1st.
If I'm Elias Diaz, do you just like require that you announce me as former All-Star MVP Elias Diaz, like somebody that's nominated for an Oscar, even if you don't win, it's always Academy Award nominee Julianne Moore. It's just like,
Bro, 1,000%.
yeah, I'd like, just
Dude,
no, you have to call me by that.
If I
It's the only thing I'm ever going to do in my career.
if I won any, I mean, if you know how many times we've introduced ourselves as award-winning show Jon and Jim. Now it's being facetious and we're joking, but still, like, dude, if I'm gonna win an award, bro, you are hyping me up with that award forever. Like, if I made one All-Star appearance in my career in whatever sport, I will forever tell you to be calling me as former All-Star Jim Russell. That's just what it is. And not only was he a former All-Star MVP, like you said, bro, every day, if I go on a radio appearance, former All-Star MVP Elias Diaz, that just sounds better.
You put that on your business card.
So when they sign Elias Diaz to a 2-year deal for $3 million, they'll put in the press release 100%. Former All-Star MVP Elias Diaz. You know they would do that. It's like a no-brainer. But until then, we are just going to have to wait, and we will be waiting until February 1st when we see the brand new look 2025 Padres to see if there's actually a brand new look with the Padres. It is all quiet on the Padres front. Nothing is happening. No rumors, no close to a deals, no, this and that, nothing.
I was gonna say, I think we'll know more by FanFest because, the whole Roki sweepstakes will be over by then, at least from all the rumors saying that once he posts, it shouldn't take that long. So we might have one of those three things we mentioned. You might be able to go get your picture taken with the Padres left fielder, insert name here. Same with their catcher, insert name here, and first baseman. And
I'm glad you mentioned Roki Sasaki because I do actually have some news on Roki Sasaki. According to Brian Hooch, I have no idea how to say his last name, Hoch, Brian Hoch, covers the Yankees for MLB. He reported today that the Yankees have scheduled a meeting in person with Roki Sasaki. Must be nice. That's great. You get to schedule meetings. That's awesome. Hey, when can I get a tweet that says the Padres are setting up and have a scheduled meeting with Roki Sasaki? Like, this ain't some secretive thing, guys. You've already talked about how you basically see him in a Padres uniform next year. You're dropping his name left and right. This ain't like a secret type of thing that you have to keep hush-hush.
yeah, if I don't hear this out of the words of Joe Wolf himself, or Joel, or whatever the hell he said his name was the other day, then I won't believe it.
I need a tweet that says the Padres have scheduled the meeting in person with Roki Sasaki. I need it. Like, I need air to breathe. That's how bad I need that tweet. But he's meeting with the Yankees. He's met with the White Sox. I'm sure he'll meet with the Dodgers soon. We'll definitely get a tweet about that. And then I'm sure next week you're going to get radio silent because it's obviously Christmas time, even though I'm sure AJ Preller would probably be that person that schedules a meeting with the entire organization, or at least the front office, on December 25th, because He's a psycho like that. But when's this meeting going to happen with Roki Sasaki? That's a question that I have too, is when are you going to meet with Roki Sasaki? Do you have to wait until Yu Darvish is going to be available and then you can meet with him? I've said all along, whenever they meet with Roki Sasaki, you got to have Manny in the room. I think you do. I need like all
You
hands
think
on.
Manny's at home with a Rosetta Stone, learning. Maybe. Oh, he doesn't need one. He's got.
You got
AJ
AJ
can
Preller
teach
there,
him.
dude. He knows Japanese. I need all hands on deck here. I need Manny. Hell, I need Toddy. I need Jackson Merrill. I want everybody. I want a full court press for Roki Sasaki. I want this guy to feel wanted more than anything else. And if you bring in the big guns, if you bring in Manny, you bring in Toddy, you bring in Jackson Merrill, that is a sign of, wow, they really want me on this team. Like, the executives, whatever. Like, you bring in AJ Preller, okay, and then you bring in some scouts and you bring in whoever else. I don't even know if Eric Katsenda would be a part of the meeting. Yeah, you bring in Hideo Nomo and whatnot, and I'm sure Yu Darvish would be a part of it as well. But, like, I need some star power in that room. I need Manny. I need Toddy. I need Jackson Merrill. I need the full court press here. Like, back in the day when the NBA was interesting and Kevin Durant was a free agent, the infamous story of the Hamptons, when Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green all went to the Hamptons to meet with Kevin Durant. And it was basically KD and the four other guys, four other guys, Steph, Klay, Andre, and Draymond. And they were pitching KD. It wasn't like Steve Kerr and at the time Bob Myers were sitting there talking to KD the whole time. It was the players. Now it's different in baseball. I get it, because you're not like passing a ball to each other. But it would be nice, I think, if Roki Sasaki got to see, Manny Machado up close and personal before he makes his decision, and hopefully hear from Manny like, hey, dude, we are on the verge of something special here. We need you. That to me is way more impactful than like AJ Preller talking to him in Japanese. That's how I would view it if I was Roki. Now, again, he can make a decision on his own, and he damn well could choose the Dodgers. That could absolutely happen. And it could be like, well, they got Shohei Ohtani. Well, he's also played with Shohei before, and he's played with Yamamoto. So they're like buddies.
I think that would just be standard for him, that, regardless of, if he's going to go visit the Cubs, then, I would expect, the top three stars in the Cubs team to go meet with him. And at least some point, they don't have to, sit in there during the entire meeting. But at some point when you're giving him the tour of the ballpark and stadium and everything, just, oh, hey, it's Fernando Tatis and Joe Musgrove are just here working out, and, just let him talk to him. If he goes and talks to the Yankees, you think they're not going to have him, at least through a translator, talk with Judge and those guys, just so, he kind of can tell what he's getting into, opposed to just, all right, here's the ballpark. Here's all the suits that run the team. And all right, you don't need to see anything else. You don't actually want to meet any of your potential teammates, do you? No? Okay, let's go.
I just think it would behoove the Padres to get Manny in that room. Now, it's difficult.
Oh, yeah, I'd get a bunch of them in there.
It's going to be difficult to get Manny to do anything out of season, probably, but like getting the main guys in there, like I'm calling up Joe. I know he's not going to pitch next year, but like, dude, the players have so much more of an impact than like a front office exec, in my opinion, or a scout, because those are the guys you're playing with every single day. And if you are Roki Sasaki and you go into that room, you are on a recruitment trip right now. I want you to recruit me. What's better than having your star players, a Hall of Famer in Manny Machado, one of the most exciting players when healthy, and Fernando Tatis Jr., one of the most exciting rookies in the game, should have been Rookie of the Year, saying, we need you here. We want you here. We know how talented you are. Help us. I think that would go a way longer way than having Preller, some scouts, Hideo Nomo, and Yu Darvish. Not saying that can't get the job done either, because it absolutely could. I just think that the full court press needs to be had. Because if the Yankees have a meeting with him and they get Aaron Judge on a Zoom call, that's I'm sure like what they would probably do. And that would help. Oh, Aaron Judge wants me to play here? Okay. And then maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it literally doesn't matter. I don't know. I just know that if I'm recruiting somebody, especially Roki Sasaki, a guy that you desperately want, I'm pulling out all the stops. And all the stops mean I need my top guys to help get this thing done. So we'll see. Hopefully the Padres will set up a meeting and they'll meet with Roki Sasaki soon, because it seems like his meetings with teams are being leaked right now. He's met with the White Sox. He's going to meet with the Yankees coming up here this week. So hopefully the Padres are somewhere on that list, and hopefully they're closer to the top than the bottom. All right, coming up next, we have the wrap. Also, tickets to give away to the Holiday Bowl next Friday at Snapdragon Stadium. And Colin Cowherd has an interesting way to fix the NBA. You'll hear that coming up next.
Brian Callahan was asked by a reporter if he thought his 3-11 team
And baseball is kind of in a standstill right now. It's not just the Padres. Like, the top free agents that are still in the market are some big time names. Corbin Burns is still out there. Roki Sasaki, obviously. Pete Alonso is out there. Teoscar Hernandez is out there. There's still some big names on the open market that are looking for contracts. I've always said that, look, baseball, what they need to do is during the winter meetings, that's when all the moves need to take place. It needs to be a free agent frenzy. You need to have a week that you just take over the headlines. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. The Juan Soto deal happened before the winter meetings, kind of died out after 2 days. And after that, you had a couple more signings. The Willie Adames thing happened on a Saturday. Max Fried happened at the winter meetings. But, like, if you're not going to have all your free agents sign in one period, people are going to kind of, I'm not saying lose interest, but if you just sprinkle things here and there during the college football playoff and the NFL postseason, NBA, college basketball, like, you're not doing yourself any good as a league when, owners, one, don't want to spend money, and two, these free agent signings are happening, and it's like, oh, Corbin Burns just signed. Oh, by the way, it's the college football playoff tonight.
Sprinkling things around is fine if they're big sprinkles.
I do like some big I do like some big sprinkles,
opposed to small ones. Wade's been, my go-to guy for references today. Sorry, Tyler, but
Tyler Wade.
But just keep it going here. It's the same thing of just nothing is happening like you said. So you can't sprinkle weighty signings and be like, oh, wait, I'm going to turn off the college football playoff to go to ESPN and read about this. But you bigger name guys, like when they, Soto signing and stuff like that, those are big enough sprinkles that they can grab media attention when stuff like that happens. But they can't expect to survive just sprinkling smaller name guys in there and expecting people to care, if that makes sense.
Now, I really do think that some of it has to do with the top guys having qualifying offers attached to them. Teams don't want to give up draft picks. And if they do, they're gonna wait it out. Anthony Santander, he has a qualifying offer attached to him. Teoscar Hernandez, he has a qualifying offer attached to him. Corbin Burns, he has a qualifying offer attached to him. Sean Manaea has a qualifying offer attached to him. Alex Bregman has a qualifying offer. Christian Walker has a qualifying offer. Pete Alonso has a qualifying offer. Like, that's the top of the list right there. That's the top of the list. And whoever signs those players to big time contracts, they're going to have to give up a draft pick. So there's some hesitation there probably. Also, it's like, that's a lot of money because the market is going to get Corbin Burns probably $250 million. It's going to get Alex Bregman $200+ million. So until anything happens, we're just sitting in a waiting period. It's just, we're waiting this thing out, seeing what happens, what shoe's going to drop first. Are teams that are in the hunt for Roki Sasaki, are they just going to wait till the Roki Sasaki decision is made? Or are they going to do something about it? I think in the next 2 weeks before the start of the year, I think at least one of these top free agents will sign somewhere. Where? I don't know, but I think one of them will. All right, coming up next, Colin, he has an interesting take on how to change the way the NBA is played. I kind of don't hate it. You'll hear what he said coming up next.
All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer, and stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Listen up, homeowners. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start with the new year coming. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast. Call 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
This update's brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. NFL news of the day, Kirk Cousins. He has been benched for Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix said today at a press conference he found out he was the starting quarterback while at Costco eating a hot dog. And the NBA Cup is over. The Bucks are your 2024 NBA Cup champions. They beat the Thunder last night 97-81 in a game that does not count. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim, taking you to 6 p.m. tonight. Me and Brent holding down the fort for the rest of the week while Jon has started his early Christmas vacation. We'll be reunited in a couple of weeks, close to the new year, so if you're wondering about our schedules. Colin made a point today on his show.
You can hear Colin Cowherd, The Herd, Monday through Friday, 9 to noon, right here on San Diego Sports 760. How to change the game. Now, I am, the guy that hates the golden at bat rule. That changes the game literally. Doing what Colin says here, it changes the game. But also in the NBA, they're a league that was a league that didn't have the three-point line, and then they added the three-point line. So they have done things to add to the game. It's not the first time that the sport would change. It's not like they're saying like, oh, at any point in the game, one player on your team gets a free 3-pointer. Like, it's changing it for everybody. And this is what he had to say about a rule change for the NBA.
I like the NBA. Congrats to the Milwaukee Bucks. They beat OKC last night, two very good teams. But Adam Silver was talking to the media. He acknowledged that television ratings have fallen on a cliff, but one of his lines was, listen to this, well, we're at the point where our social media audience is at the highest of any league. Yeah, congrats for crushing Twitter and IG and TikTok. Ain't paying the bills, brah. Amazon, NBC, ESPN are your partners for the next decade. Twitter, TikTok may not even be legal in 6 weeks. Who gives a rip about social media? You know what else is crushing on social media? Young people taking their clothes off. Congratulations. It's not paying the bills either. So my takeaway is Oklahoma City, here's what I saw last night. Shoot 32 threes and make 5. The game is repetitive and boring. Roger Goodell and Rob Manfred have taken a lot of heat for cultural changes they've made with the sport. A lot of old-timers and purists have pushed back rule changes, and they've been right. Rob Manfred, 2 for 2 this last year. Goodell, multiple moves, almost always right. Adam Silver needs to change the game. The three-point shot is boring and repetitive. Every team plays the exact same way. I've said before, I would move the three-point arc into the bench, eliminate the corner, move it back a foot, make it part of the game, not the game. Last night you had 72 threes. That's not good at the YMCA, and it's not good in pro basketball. The most entertaining team in league history that had the highest ratings, the Michael Jordan Bulls. Do you know what they shot? Because they were athletic and high-flying. 5 threes a game. This year's Bulls averaged 44. You might as well turn Michael Jordan's Jumpman logo, if he played today, into MJ with a fall-away 27-footer. Boring. It needs to be part of the game, not the game. By the way, Major League Baseball defensive shift. Oh, the analytics proved you could get more guys out that way. You were right. But nobody wants to watch Bryce Harper and, Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts lining out to a second baseman playing right field and then heading back to the dugout. You want them on television. And I've said this about tech before. You got to be more than just smart with tech. Google Glasses, the Meta headsets, for dorks. The consumers are like, yeah, it's smart. Who wants to walk around wearing a Meta headset and be a huge dork? Packaging matters. Steve Jobs, the greatest mind ever in Silicon Valley. He always understood packaging matters. It can't just be math. If the Philadelphia Eagles could get 5 yards of tush push, they would never have to do any other play, and the NFL would outlaw it. It's okay that they do it twice a game. If they got to 10 times, the NFL would outlaw it and should. And packaging matters. How a game looks. My entire life, I watched the NBA. All of our favorite players have been like MJ and Kobe and athletic players. There's a reason the dunk contest is usually more fun to watch than the three-point shooting contest. The NBA has the world's greatest athletes. And Edwards now shoots 10.5 threes a game. Yuck. I don't mind 3. I want to see him drive to the basket. It can't just be about, analytics. Math isn't always good for sports. The defensive shift, got more people out. I want Mookie Betts and Bryce Harper on base, not in the dugout. The three-point shot now, it's just too repetitive. It's boring. Everybody plays the same. So these are all TV shows. I don't care that you're big on TikTok. Tech can't be just smart, and sports can't just be efficient with analytics. It's got to be entertaining. Ant Edwards. It's funny. I was telling a friend last night. I said this idea that everybody has to shoot analytics, but what if you don't have good three-point shooters? That's like saying, all kids have to drink milk. What if you're lactose intolerant? I had a stomach ache for 13 years. I was told I had to drink milk. It's not good for everybody. Three-pointers were good for the Warriors. Not bad for Milwaukee. When Chet Holmgren's not playing, OKC shouldn't be shooting him. Everybody chased the Warriors for years. One team was winning titles shooting a bunch of threes, the Warriors. So Adam Silver, do a Rob Manfred, do a Roger Goodell. Nobody cares about TikTok. Congrats dominating that. You know what the NFL cares about? Fox, Amazon, Netflix, CBS, ESPN. That's what they care about, their broadcast partners, because that's driving the money in the league. Butts in seats and butts on their couch watching on TV.
All right, so first off, let's not put Rob Manfred in a place of like, oh man, he's doing a great job for baseball. Like, the pitch clock, I agree. It was good. Taking the shift out, it's good. I haven't seen like it completely change the game. I'm just glad that there's not, Manny Machado, roaming out in right field all the time. Like, I do agree, like that was ridiculous. But like, other than that, there's still a lot of problems with baseball. And what Colin said there's one thing that Colin said that immediately made me start thinking about like why baseball is turning into something that like kids nowadays aren't saying like, oh, this is fun, I want to watch baseball, is because kids don't like math. And when your sport is based around predominantly math problems and math equations, like your spin rate and your FIP and your WAR and this, like, home runs or, on base, like kids aren't going to find that to be entertaining. They want to see home runs. They want to see stolen bases, which they made the bases bigger. And Shohei Ohtani took advantage of that. And they want their stars to be marketed properly. That's what baseball doesn't do. They don't market their stars properly. And then when they do market their stars, all it is Shohei Ohtani. And everyone gets sick and tired of it.
Well, because they don't market him as much as they just shove him down everyone's throats.
Like back in the from like 2013 to like 2018, the WWE had a really big problem because they didn't have enough stars to market. It was like John Cena, and they tried to shove Roman Reigns down your throat, and it didn't work, and the product was awful. And now, guess what? They have made and created multiple headlining stars to where the entire product is more enjoyable to watch because you have superstar, athletes being marketed properly. Now, I'm using WWE as an example because I just remember like people were sick and tired, and we talked about this before the show, of like John Cena being shoved down your throat all the time, and they turned on him. The same thing is happening right now with Shohei Ohtani. I'm sick of and tired of Shohei Ohtani. He's a great player, amazing player. But can we get a more promotion for other stars around the sport instead of just Shohei Ohtani all the time? The glazing for Ohtani turns me off to Ohtani. In basketball, what he is saying about Adam Silver is you gotta to nip this 3-point epidemic in the butt, because if you don't, it's just going to be 3-pointers every single game. 73 pointers shot every game. A team goes 5 for 30 from 3. As a consumer, it's not fun to watch. Like it is a brand of basketball that is now predicated on the 3-pointer is greater than the 2-pointer. Wow. So what are we going to do?
Jim fact.
We're going to shoot more 3s than 2s because 3 is more than 2. So because of that, guess what? We're going to shoot 100 of these a game. If we make 40%, actually, that'd be a really good clip. If we made 35% from 3, that benefits us more than shooting 2s. Shooting 3s, going to the free throw line, like that's the game of basketball. Foul baiting, complaining. I love basketball. I love the NBA. Absolutely love it. But even I am now looking at the NBA saying, like, this is... I'm not like excited. Like I used to be so excited every single Christmas and most days to be like, I got to watch the NBA tonight. Now it's like, do I really want to watch Minnesota against Denver? Not really. And maybe it's a brand thing. I don't know. Because Nikola Jokic and Anthony Edwards are great players. So maybe it's a brand thing. But still, Thursday night, the big Minnesota Timberwolves Denver Nuggets game, not really drawing many people to it. And to top it off, it's just three-pointer after three-pointer, and guys that shouldn't be shooting threes are shooting like 10 a game. All right, coming up next, the wrap. Also, Holiday Bowl tickets right around the corner. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim, taking you to 6 p.m. here on San Diego Sports 760. Stay listening because we are giving away a pair of tickets to the Holiday Bowl. Not right now, but we will be giving away tickets to the Holiday Bowl very, very soon on the show. All right, Brent, let's get to it.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Where do you think Kirk Cousins ends up next season?
Well, the dude has a massive contract, so I don't know if he's going anywhere unless the Falcons want to just eat it. But it just goes back to what were they doing when they signed Kirk Cousins and then drafted Michael Penix? Now, it might end up being okay because Kirk Cousins sucks right now, and maybe he's washed and he just completely lost it. So at least they now have drafted their future quarterback potentially. They don't have to worry about that impending problem next year. But, I mean, I don't know the whole situation with his contract about if they cut him, how much they owe to him, and blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, someone's going to get Kirk Cousins. They have. I don't know where. Like, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, I mean, look, if you want to have your rookie quarterback wait a year, you could look at the Giants, but the Giants are going to be drafting probably a quarterback with their first overall pick, and they could get the first overall pick in the draft. The Raiders, if they get the number one overall pick, probably taking Shador. Is there any team that you think that he could go to, Brent, that would, like, it makes sense? Because right now,
someone will take him because, you know, quarterbacks are always
the Saints.
Yeah, they got, you know, Derek Carter, but you know,
Yeah.
he gets hurt all the time, so he's not really that reliable. But yeah, if they just cut Cousins, they'd take like a $40 million cap hit.
Oh God!
So yeah, he'll be slinging chicken sandwiches out of the Chick-fil-A before they cut him.
Oh my God, that's awful. $40 million cap hit. Yeah, he's with the Falcons next year. Next question.
What will be the first move AJ Preller makes in the offseason?
Bless you. I think he's going to make a trade. I don't think he's going to make a signing. I think it's going to be a trade. I think it's going to be a trade for a starting pitcher. That's just what I think, because he's got to get the ball rolling here in some aspect for what they're going to do with Dylan Cease, and he's going to need like contingency plans. So I think he's going to make a trade for a starting pitcher. When? I don't know, but I'm going to go with trading for a starting pitcher. That's the first move that he'll make this offseason. All right, Brent, next question.
We'll see if I can get through this without laughing. Do you believe Aaron Rodgers that he would be willing to mentor a quarterback in 2025 if he were to return to the Jets?
Yeah, no shot. 0% chance. Give me a break.
Dude, when the Packers wanted him to mentor Jordan Love, he threw a conniption fit about them even drafting him, let alone, you know, knowing that he was just going to sit for like a year or two, and he just went nuts. So no. And if he does, that just means he knows he's washed. And that's the only way that he's going to stay in the league is that way.
Have you been keeping up on his like beef with Ryan Clark at all?
No.
I have to, like, Ryan Clark released like a 5-minute video today calling Aaron Rodgers like a hypocrite and a moron and basically washed. And then Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee yesterday was, you know, saying that, hey, Ryan, if you talk about me, you got to tell me your vax status. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? It's turned into some ridiculous feud that I don't even want to research it out, but I kind of want to because of how stupid it is.
Honestly, I can't take anything Rodgers says seriously.
No.
And if you've been paying attention to the suits that RC's been wearing this year or this season, I can't take anything he says seriously.
They're interesting, yeah.
Half the time his suits look like Two-Face had a yard sale because it's like half of it is one suit and then the other half is another suit. And it's just like, dude, just stop.
All right, final question, Brent.
How excited are you for the new Superman trailer tomorrow? 6 a.m. our time it comes out.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Are you going to get up at 6 a.m.?
No, I'll watch it at like 8:30 when I wake up or 9. They released a teaser trailer for the teaser trailer today.
Like 10 seconds with no sound.
It's like a 30-second trailer. And we could talk about it later in the show during the back page, but I'm sorry, Brent. There's something off with it. There's something off with it. I'm not saying that like the Superman is off because we only saw like a glimpse of him flying. There's a shot of inside the Daily Planet. It looks, and I've been seeing a lot of it on social media. It looks like a low budget film. I'm sorry, it does, and it's just a first look. But hopefully the trailer's better, and obviously hopefully the movie's better. But like, I don't know, dude. Something looked off with that like teaser trailer to the teaser trailer. And it might just be me, but something's off with it. Hopefully it's just this.
I'll reserve judgment for tomorrow.
All right, coming up next, when will the Padres make a move? A hypothetical Dylan Cease trade that is interesting. We'll talk about that. But right now, 877-767-4760. Caller number 5. You have won a pair of tickets to the Holiday Bowl next Friday, Syracuse and Washington State. 877-767-4760. Caller number 5. You have won Holiday Bowl tickets. Call right now. Coming up next, more of Jon and Jim. Stay with us. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. We'll start in the NFL. Kirk Cousins has lost his starting job with the Falcons. Michael Penix Jr. is now the starter for Atlanta. And the Bucks are the 2024 NBA Cup champions. They beat the Thunder last night, 97-81, in a game that doesn't matter. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event on select new Lexus models. Get 2.49% APR financing. Limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today. All right, final hour of Jon and Jim on a Wednesday, taking you to 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. And we are in wait mode. When will the Padres make a move? Just refresh your timeline every 5 seconds. Yeah, I'm not going to refresh my timeline every 5 seconds, but we are in wait mode to see what moves they're going to make. Now, last year, if you're wondering, all right, when did they make moves last year? Because last year was a kind of a quiet offseason. Well, I mean, I wouldn't consider it quiet. They did trade Juan freaking Soto. That's a pretty big move, right? When did they trade Juan Soto? They traded him on December 7th. 11 days ago, a year ago. And granted, they do not have the Juan Soto trade chip this year. I understand that. They do have the Dylan Cease trade chip. We'll talk about a hypothetical trade here coming up in a bit. That's interesting, to say the least. And it makes sense. But as of right now, if you're not willing to trade Dylan Cease at this moment because you're waiting for Roki Sasaki, what other move can you make? Like seriously, what other move could you make right now if you are not trading Dylan Cease? Like, you have Dylan Cease, you're putting him off in the corner. It's a wait and see, because you got to wait and see if you land Roki Sasaki or not. If you don't land Roki, that's going to make it harder to trade Dylan Cease. If you do, then you might view it as it's easier to trade Dylan Cease, even though I would argue that, like, with the rotation of Cease, Sasaki, Darvish, and King, like, that's pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. Especially because you don't have Joe Musgrove for the entire year. So, like, what can they do right now? They can't really sign anybody.
Would you take that rotation and then not have 3 starters?
Who are the 3 starters?
Just like the hypothetical ones that would be in the trade.
Oh,
so like, you'd rather have that front line.
I would rather
rotation. Yeah, than have 3 more everyday starters.
Yeah, I think. Look, they are in a situation where it's tough because they have to continue to try and, like, reinvent themselves. AJ Preller has to try and do new things that he wasn't able to do last year. Like, it's not every single offseason, this is the same old thing they've done. They go out and make this, they do that. Like, it's been a new strategy every single offseason for, like, the last 5 years. Now, last year was easily his best year, and he was fantastic. But, you have 2021 where they went out and they traded for Darvish, Musgrove, and Snell. You had 2022 where they traded for Juan Soto. You had 2023 where they went and signed Xander Bogaerts. You had 2024 where they then traded Juan Soto for a bunch of players that helped the team, and they didn't make any signings. What's it going to be this year? 2020, nothing really happened because, well, one, there was a pandemic, and two, there was a lockout, right? There was a lockout. No, that was in 2021 after the 2021 season. But still, like 2020, 2019, they signed Manny Machado. 2018, they signed Eric Hosmer. So it's like every year it's something different. And what's it going to be this year? I think that this is probably going to play out fairly slowly. If nothing's happened yet, I think it's going to be a slow burn here to where one move could maybe drop on Friday, and then the next move could drop on January 15th with Sasaki, and then the next move could drop on February 6th. Like, it's not going to be bang, 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 bang. Like, oh, they made a trade tomorrow, and then they make a signing on Friday, and then they make a trade on Saturday, and then they make another trade on Tuesday. Like, that's not going to happen. This thing could be a slow burn. And while my impatient ass hates it, I understand it, I guess. But it's still hard for me to like rationalize because I'm just so impatient. Like, I just need something to happen. And I want something to happen like now. It'd be great if we had all of a sudden 2 minutes from now, Jeff Passan reporting, breaking news, Padres and Jurickson Profar agreed to a 3-year contract. Like, let's freaking go.
I kind of feel like it's going to be a domino effect just for the league, to where once we get a few of the dominoes to fall, it's just going to start the chain reaction. And then, then I think it's just going to pick up activity around the rest of the league. It's just a matter of how long are we going to have to wait for one of the dominoes to fall to get the process started.
And you would think that the other domino would be Corbin Burnes, because whatever team loses out on Corbin Burnes will then maybe turn their sights to Dylan Cease.
Well, and depending on what Burnes gets for a contract, it's going to determine the pitching market again and what other players are going to get. And so, yeah, like I said, I think once one or two of these big name guys drop, then I think all of a sudden it's just going to come in a flurry.
Corbin Burnes is interesting because he could like get close to $250 million from somebody. And then you're right. Yeah. If I'm Dylan Cease, I'm looking at that and being like, oh, I'm going to get paid.
Oh, yeah.
Easily north of $200 million. I think that's a no-brainer. If Dylan Cease has a season like he did this past year, like, if he had the exact same season, mid-3 ERA, 180 innings pitched, 200 plus strikeouts, fourth in Cy Young, that's a $210 million contract easily. And he ain't signing back here with the Padres. That's for damn sure. I'm actually really worried about what Michael King might get. Like, he could get something close to $200 million as well. Looking at a contract around 180. I mean, Blake Snell has more credentials than Michael King, but I mean, the pitching market every year just goes up and up and up and up. So if it's at this price point now, what's it going to be like next year? It's just going to keep going up. And then we're also dealing with an impending lockout as well. Like, that is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about because it is a little bit away. I mean, it's 2 seasons? I think it's after the 2026 year. But, that lockout's coming. It's coming fast. And these players, they're going to want to get paid before that lockout, before anything can happen. Like, they're not going to miss games theoretically, like we talked about the other day. Like, it was a grind a couple of years ago when they had the lockout, but they didn't miss any games. but still these guys are gonna want to get paid. So when you look at Dylan Cease and you look at his market right now, it's like, yeah, maybe you are waiting for the Corbin Burns to sign somewhere. And then if you're not, then it's probably you're waiting for Roki Sasaki. So, when AJ Preller makes a move, don't worry, we'll let you know. But I just think it's the more time that passes this offseason, the more the feeling like it's going to be a slow burn of things. And that even by FanFest on February 1st, the Padres announced FanFest today. It's going to be at February 1st. I'm assuming Petco Park, unless it's somewhere else, but why would it be? You might not have even a full roster before then. Like AJ Preller could still probably be making moves even after FanFest. Like Dylan Cease happened during spring training. Jerkson Profar happened, I think, February 9th last year. This is going to be a slow burn, guys. And if it's not, then I'm wrong and I'm happy with it. But it just, that's what it feels like. It's a slow burn until the Padres open up their season next year at the end of March. So we'll wait and see. And in the meantime, we'll be talking about hypothetical trades like the one I'll tell you about next with Dylan Cease. Stay right here. It's Jon and Jim.
Brent, did you see what happened last night in the college basketball world? No. So Utah State took on UC San Diego. They hosted UC San Diego. Utah State unbeaten, 10-0. UC San Diego 10-1. They had a really good showing here at San Diego State, first game of the year. Well, they beat Utah State 75-73 on the road. And first off, good for them. That's a big time win. They're 10-2 on the season now. But that's awful for the Mountain West. Like, you are now looking at a league that is probably going to be a two-bid league max. And I say two-bid league is only because the San Diego State does not win the Mountain West Conference tournament. But now this sets up a lot of grenades for San Diego State. So let's look at net rankings. And net rankings. All right, so San Diego State, the net rankings are a little weird right now. San Diego State is in the 50s. They're 56. UC San Diego, with their win last night, actually it's not even there yet, but they're 57. And then Utah State is all the way up here at 39. I will say these net rankings right now don't take too much, don't put too much stock in them. If you look at Ken Palm, John's favorite site.
Sometimes Ken Palm's full.
San Diego State is, let me just pull this up here, 43rd. All right. So they're 43rd. And you're looking at the out-of-conference schedule for Mountain West Conference teams. Not good. San Diego State has easily the best wins on their resume so far of any Mountain West Conference team, and it's not even close. Houston and Creighton. Houston right now in Ken Palm, where are they? They're 4th. All right. Creighton in Ken Palm is 40th. San Diego State is 43rd, and they have wins over both of those teams. So great win for UC San Diego last night. Awful loss for the Mountain West Conference. That's a big win for UCSD for their program, Division I school now. They could win their conference. They could make a trip to the NCAA tournament if they win their conference. They played really well against San Diego State, and then of course, beating Utah State last night. But okay, I hate to say it, but I much rather have had Utah State win, because now with that loss under their belt, that does not do them any favors, and it does not help the Mountain West Conference out at all.
It's too early to say though, because if the Tritons go on and they're an NCAA tournament school, then it's not going to look as bad. It would look bad if they were Doug Gottlieb and UW Green Bay, where they only had 2 wins.
True.
So I think it's still a little too early to tell if they go down the toilet here the second half of the season after New Year's. Then yeah, it could affect us. But if they end up having a really good record and make the tournament, it's not going to reflect as bad.
Well, okay, then you need UC San Diego to have an amazing season. I agree with that. Yes. Yeah. So it's easier said than done. Just have an amazing year. Make the NCAA tournament, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
But still, there are going to be a lot of landmines to avoid for San Diego State when it comes to conference play. like if I just look here, let me just look this up. Let's see here. So let's look at Boise State right now. Oh, I can't look at it because I'm not a subscriber. Oh, anyway, San Diego State in KenPom, 43rd. Boise State, don't have it here, but that to me is the only other school in the conference. Yeah, they're not top 40. No other team in the Mountain West Conference is top 40. Boise State is 52nd. That's pretty. That's decent. Other schools in the Mountain West Conference. UC San Diego 71st in KenPom. But if I'm looking here, let's scroll down. Let's see where. I mean, you got New Mexico, Wyoming. I mean, they're all in like the 150 range. Yeah, Wyoming's 199. New Mexico, just 210. Like San Jose State's 207. And they have a lot of schools in the Mountain West and like the hundreds, like the high hundreds and like the low 200s as far as KenPom goes. But anyway, good win for UC San Diego last night. Hopefully it propels them to get to the NCAA tournament. Utah State, their first loss of the year, home loss, which is not great, but nonetheless, good win for UC San Diego over Utah State. All right, coming up next, a hypothetical trade for Dylan Cease. I'm going to tell you what that hypothetical trade is, and I want to get your reaction to see if that did happen, would you like it or not? That's coming up next right here on Jon and Jim. This update's been brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. There's a new quarterback in Atlanta as Kirk Cousins has been benched for Michael Penix Jr. And the Bucks are your 2024 NBA Cup champions. They beat the Thunder last night 97-81 in a game that doesn't even count. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.49% APR financing. Limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
So this hypothetical trade that I saw making the rounds today is on Newsweek, other sites as well, Sports Illustrated, even though Sports Illustrated is like an AI company now. It's interesting that this trade it makes a lot of sense. So the Baltimore Orioles, all right? The Baltimore Orioles are a team that I would consider to be loaded in the farm. Not just me that says that. Everybody in the industry thinks that and knows that the Baltimore Orioles have a ton of talent. They're also a team that has lost Corbin Burns. They're ace. They're a team that has, competed in the AL East the last couple of years, and they view themselves as real-time contenders. So if they don't bring back Corbin Burns, which it's looking like every single day that passes that they will not sign Corbin Burns, the next best, option would be to trade for a frontline starting pitcher. And that's interesting. Dylan Cease is out there, reportedly. So Dylan Cease, if he's on the trade market, I think Baltimore makes a lot of sense because of how much they have in their system. And we know Preller.
Man, does he love prospects. Dude loves prospects more than anything. If he went and traded with the Baltimore Orioles, there are a ton of prospects in that organization to trade with and to get. The interesting part about this trade is that it fills all the needs. So Dylan Cease, if he were to be traded to the Baltimore Orioles, here's the hypothetical trade. All right. I could pull this up on my stupid computer. Dylan Cease to the Orioles for Chase McDermott, pitcher. Dylan Beavers, an outfielder. And then another prospect who plays first base / catcher. I don't have the name here because my computer's stupid and it won't load. Does that excite you? If the Padres made that trade, does that excite you, Padres fans? If they traded for this guy named Chase McDermott, who is a right-handed pitcher, he's 26 years old. He had one start last year at the big league level, made his major league debut. Went 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, a home run, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. Dylan Beavers, 23-year-old outfielder, has some pop. Lefty, could put in left field tomorrow. He was drafted in the first round by the Orioles in 2022. Went to Cal, so California boy. Went to high school in San Luis Obispo. A guy that in the minors had a 809 career OPS. Does that excite you, Padres fans? Would that be something that you look at and saying like, okay, I understand this. This is going to help our team out. Or do you need more? Do you need more than that? Do you need more than Chase McDermott, Dylan Beavers, and another prospect attached to it? I would argue that if you got that, that's kind of a lot. Now, again, I'm not a scout. I'm not Kyle Glazer, so I don't know the ins and outs of Chase McDermott and his stuff, or Dylan Beavers and his, projections go. I'm just looking at, you get 2 top 10 prospects in the best farm system in baseball, and then another prospect, potentially a top 15 guy. I think that's what you would be getting if you trade Dylan Cease. If you are asking for anything more than that, probably not going to happen. Like, yeah, you would love to get a guy that, had a good year at the majors last year. You could plug and play, boom, left fielder, there you go. Or a catcher, or a first baseman, preferably a pitcher. But you make a move like this, you're getting 3 prospects, 2 guys that could be at the big leagues on opening day next year. And hopefully they would perform. But that's, the kind of deal that I think we should all be expecting for Dylan Cease. The names are okay, the names, whatever. I'm looking at more or less like the number 5 ranked prospect plus the number 6 ranked prospect plus the 12th ranked prospect in that organization. And if you're going with the Baltimore Orioles as a destination to trade Dylan Cease to, I mean, I don't know, but I would guess that, Chase McDermott and Dylan Beavers, if you put them in any other organization, they'd probably be higher ranked than what they are with the Orioles. That's just my guess. Maybe not, but the Orioles have a loaded farm system. If those guys are 5th and 6th in it, probably somewhere else they'd be maybe, 3rd and 4th or 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, 2 out of those 3 guys probably would be starting for 20 teams out of the league tomorrow.
Well, Chase McDermott, like a pitcher here, right? Like, he'd be starting the big leagues next year because he already made his major league debut this past season. Dylan Beavers will be starting at the big league level next year. That's kind of what you're looking with Dylan Cease here. Could you trade him for that and be okay with it?
What kind of control are those 3 guys under?
Well,
do you know?
Well, I mean, Chase McDermott's only made 1 start in the big league level, so they haven't even started their clock yet. So, I mean, whenever they get to the big leagues, boom, there's you go. 6 years, their clock's underway. Like same thing with Jackson Merrill. Second he started, boom, there's the clock. It's underway. So no, the control. I mean, you have these guys for years, but if you're thinking that you're going to get the haul that Juan Soto got for Dylan, if you're thinking that Dylan Cease could bring back the same amount as Juan Soto did, yeah, not going to happen.
I would just be worried that he kind of does the same thing he did with Hader and them, to where it's like you said earlier, they took offers, but he didn't think any of the offers were good enough to where.
But if they don't trade Cease, then what else are they going to do? Because they need
nothing.
to get.
He's going to walk and they're going to lose. But he's just going to go.
But no. My point is this: like, you keep everybody. You can't go make any other moves because you're going to go past the CBT, and they are not by any circumstances going past the CBT. So, like, what are you going to do? I guess you got to trade some players. And Dylan Cease is the likeliest, most logical piece to trade that would get you a return that could help you right now. Luis Ariz ain't getting you an organization's top 10 prospects. It's not happening. Michael King, probably, but I think they would prefer to keep Michael King because he's not going to cost as much as Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is going to cost way more than Michael King, even though Michael King had a better season than Dylan Cease last year. But if you were to pick what pitcher that they are going to try to keep, I would think they're going to try to keep Michael King over Dylan Cease, just because of who's the agent for Dylan Cease, how much money they're going to want, how crazy the market is for pitchers. Like, I get it. Michael King, he's had 1 good year under his belt as a starter. If he has another good year, then he's going to demand a contract between $150 and $200 million. Dylan Cease, on the other hand, has another good season. That's a $200+ million deal easily. So, again, like, you trade Dylan Cease, don't expect to have what you got back for Juan Soto. And honestly, if and when they do trade Dylan Cease, Brent, you're probably going to see some names like this. I'm not saying that Chase McDermott and Dylan Beavers are the two guys that need to be in a deal if they traded with the Orioles, but you're probably going to see some names that you've never heard of before. And then you're going to have to deal with it. And those guys are going to have to contribute right away. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on those guys to fill some pretty big holes in left field with the All-Star and Jurickson Profar, and on the mound with Cy Young, contender every year in Dylan Cease. And hopefully those guys, can turn into something, because if they don't, then that's a big problem.
There's a lot of lightning in a bottle, but, nobody heard of Jackson Merrill really until last year.
Nationally, no.
So
locally, yes, but nationally, no. Locally, it was like, okay, you're moving this guy from shortstop to center field. He hasn't played much or at all in the minors, and you expect him to be good. And guess what he did? He turned out to be terrific. Can they get more Jackson Merrills on this team? Kind of hard, I think, because Jackson Merrill, to me, feels like a one of one. I'm not saying he's the best player in the sport. I don't think he'll ever win an MVP, but he can be a perennial all-star, like, a guy that you could definitely build around. Can whoever they trade for in a Dylan Cease trade be 80% of Jackson Merrill? Hell, can they be 70% of Jackson Merrill? I think I would take that. I wouldn't like it. I would kick and scream while it's happening. I'd be reluctant to be on board with it, because you're trading away a fantastic pitcher in an offseason where the only reason why you're doing that is to get under a CBT number, and you're not doing it to try and get better. Like, that's a hard thing for me to get sold on. I would understand if it was like, yeah, we need to trade this guy to get better. No, you're trading him because you need to save some money and you need to get below the CBT. So with that, it is a little hard for me to get fully on board with it. I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I understand if and when they trade Dylan Cease, why they're doing it. I get it. But still doesn't mean I have to like it. That doesn't mean I have to be like, yeah, okay. Now, if the players that they traded, if the players they got back in a Dylan Cease trade turn out to be freaking awesome, then of course, yeah, then we're going to root for it. And they'd be like, yeah, it was awesome. It's great. Just like the Juan Soto deal. Michael King turned out to be great. Higgy was great. Thorpe got traded away and got Dylan Cease. That was great. But whenever it does happen, if it does happen, and you see, a guy like a Chase McDermott, Dylan Beavers, and whatever, and you look at their prospect ranking, it's like, well, they traded Dylan Cease for the 5th, 6th, and 13th ranked prospect in that organization. I guess it's just going to have to deal with it, and trust the process type of move. All right, coming up next, we'll wrap up the show and we'll get to the back page. But right now, caller number 6 to 877-767-4760. Caller number 6, you have won. Let me pull this up here. A 4-pack of tickets to the 2025 San Diego International Auto Show, one of the most anticipated events for both new car buyers and enthusiasts, where the cars are the stars. Caller, what did I say? 6? Caller 6, 877-767-4760. You won International Auto Show tickets. More Jon and Jim coming up next.
All right, Hamul Casino is Jon and Jim for our friends over at Hamul. It's a great month to get out there. It really is this holiday season. You can join them every Monday this month. You'll have chances to win big luxury handbags, top brands like Louis Vuitton, Versace, and more. They've got 10 winners every hour. 7, 8, 9 p.m. Onyx players receiving an extra $100 in cash bonuses, plus one lucky winner each hour will have the opportunity to pick a purse packed with cash. We're talking about up to $25,000, and you'll get to keep the purse as well.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to win a Louis Vuitton, Burberry, or Versace purse, or win that and $25,000 in cash, you can head on over to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, Loft 94, or their poker room to watch all the sporting action that they have for you. NFL, college basketball, college football, NBA, NHL, they have it all.
Also, New Year's Eve, just over 2 weeks away. Get to Hamul. They've got the holographic New Year's party. You can celebrate in style. They'll kick off festivities with $20 free play for all, beginning at noon. Make it an unforgettable New Year's celebration out of Hamul Casino.
Yeah, get ready for New Year's with Hamul. You can also win a lot of money with Hamul, some stylish handbags at Hamul, and watch all the sporting events you want. And they have great dining experiences, too, with amazing food selections. Only at Hamul Casino. It's fun above all else.
All right, final stop on Jon and Jim this Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow. A little short show because we have Thursday night football. Who's playing Chargers and who? I have no idea. You're gonna have to. I know it's Chargers. Oh, Broncos. Okay, it might be a good game. It's a big game for the Chargers. I mean, Broncos are 9-5, Chargers 8-6.
I don't want to use good, but the Broncos have been better than I thought they were.
They've been a surprise. Colin thinks that Sean Payton should be like the coach of the year. Well, they're also buddies, so I get that. But yeah, short show tomorrow, and then of course Friday, final show of the week for Christmas week. It's next week. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that. All right, Brandon, let's get to it.
EA Sports, the college football 2025, has become the best-selling sports video game in U.S. history, surpassing NBA 2K21. Not surprised. Now, you have this game, right, Brent?
Yes.
Rate it from a 1 to 10. Like for sports games go, not just all
it's
games.
Probably a solid 7.5.
7.5.
There's a couple little minor tweaks. It's nothing that like ruins the enjoyment of the game, but there's.
What don't you like about it?
It's not that I don't like, but there's.
You hate it. It's 7.5. That's a horrible score.
There's like some of the graphics animations on some of the fans. They have.
Oh, you're docking points because of fan graphics?
Yes. I can't say what I think it looks like on the air, but it looks like certain fans' mouth is permanently open.
Okay.
So it kind of looks like
yes,
like an inflatable doll.
Yeah.
People
inflatable sex doll. Just say it. It's fine.
Yeah, as a blow up doll.
Yeah.
So they could fix that. But gameplay wise, I don't mind it. I prefer it over Madden.
So the gameplay is better than Madden, you'd say?
Well, yeah, because I like college more than the pros. I can tell you right now, I guess 272 hours.
That's how much time you spend on it?
Yeah. PlayStation tracks that stuff now.
Wow. Now, I have no idea if that's a lot or not.
It takes about 40 minutes to play a game.
Okay.
So I've played.
Wow. Hold on, let's do the math here. John's not here, so I got to do it myself.
I don't.
272, right?
Yeah, I've played over 200 games. I'm in like 2039.
272.
I'm like almost 20 years in the future.
So 20 years in the future. So if I'm doing this right, 272 hours would equal you playing the game nonstop for 11 and a half days.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like nonstop 24 hours a day. 11 straight days.
I think it's in my top 3 for most hours played for
What's the
games.
most hours you've ever played on any video game? Let me guess.
It's a Grand Theft Auto, but I don't know
It's
which
Grand.
one.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you which one it is. Probably 5.
Do you have the stats for it? I gotta hear the stats. I was gonna say like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, once you finish the game, it's like you're done with it.
Yeah, I'll replay it again, but that's about it.
So this is like a Spotify Wrapped, but instead it's PS5 Wrapped. Tells you how much life you spent on a video game. So 270 hours for EA Sports College Football 2025. When's the last Grand Theft Auto game that came out?
It was 5, which was
GTA 5. Okay.
Yeah.
How many hours?
Hold on. I haven't played it in a while, so I have to scroll down to
Okay.
where
You can't like say like a filter
search.
button.
No, I have too many games for that.
Well, GTA 6
there
is
it is.
coming out soon, right? Ish. 2 years, maybe. That's gonna take up your entire life. GTA 6.
Oh yeah, no joke. I'll probably take off work the day that comes out. I'm not even joking. When
I
don't remember which one it was. It might have been 5 when that first came out. I took off work, and the girl whose show I was producing, she made fun of me. She called me and made me give a review of the game on air since I won't come in. Yeah, I can't find it, but it's over 500. I know that.
A lot of time. The Phoenix Suns, Brent, today announced new concession prices at their basketball games. Owners aren't going to be happy with this because right now, if you go to a Phoenix Suns game, you can get hot dogs for $2, previously $9. You get $2 waters, previously $8.50. $2 sodas, previously $6.50. $2 chips, previously $7, and $2 for popcorn, previously $7. Their owner, Matt Ishiba, said this: winning starts with our fans. When I walk to the concourse at games, there aren't food options for families who don't want to spend a lot of money. That needs to change. So today we're rolling out the $2 value menu for all home Suns games. I freaking love it. And the fact that, these teams aren't seeing that like you're spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars already on tickets that you go to a game at Petco Park to buy a hot dog or some fries, a drink, and whatever else costs like $30. Dude, it's a lot, man. So having a value menu, I think, is a very smart thing. $2 like you don't have to change all the prices of everything, but if you just had a value menu like this, I think that'd be great. Like most games I go to, I just want like a hot dog and a Coke. And buying a hot dog and a Coke at a game costs $20 minimum. If there's a value menu, if I could buy a hot dog and a Coke for like $4, add some tax, it's like $6. That's great.
Teams don't have in their stadium. Like they absolutely should have that. So good on the Suns owner for doing that. All right, that's going to do it for Jon and Jim today. Thanks to Brent. Thanks to you all out there for joining me on this Wednesday. Tomorrow, again, we start at 2 o'clock as always. We'll the latest on what the Padres don't do this offseason. We'll talk about Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. Chargers and Broncos. Stay with us. Until then, have a happy night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow starting at 2 p.m. right here on Stadium Sports 760.